Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Justice League, Zack Snyder Justice League talk. Uh, this is Vince. He is wearing my shirt, not my literal shirt, but my comic shirt from Operation Eclipse. I appreciate all the support you've given me. But, it's like eye for an eye. You
Yeah, right. I mean, we're just going back, just handing money back and forth. Like, here's some money for your project. Here's some money for my project.
If anybody watching doesn't know who he is, he created the Never Hike Alone Friday the 13th universe. So Never Hike Alone, Never Hike in the Snow, and the great video that I got. Yeah, I was gonna get there. I was gonna tell you I really dig that song a lot. Like, the video is great, but the song is really kind of like tugs at your heartstrings a little bit.
Yeah.
Disappear. It's really good. And if you haven't seen Never Hike Alone, first of all, where have you been? It's been out for what, 4 years now?
3.
And then Never Hike in the Snow came out last year in October.
Last October.
And there's more coming. So I just realized I got my privacy settings on my Facebook page won't allow anybody to see this until I change them. So let me do that real quick.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, do that real quick.
And if you are here on YouTube, hit the subscribe button for me. I'm trying to grow this page a little bit.
And smash that like button.
Smash that like button. Destroy it. Oh man! So we're going to talk about Justice League tonight. I
got my Batman lighting.
Yeah. What are you playing? What's that?
King Kong Lives is playing on VHS in the background.
Oh man! Didn't we have this discussion already?
What about
King Kong or Godzilla? Aren't you a Godzilla guy?
Oh, I'm a Godzilla guy. I love them both, but I mean, in a fight, come on, nuclear dinosaur.
I mean, I can't. Anytime I think about that, I think about just Kong ripping that dinosaur's mouth open.
I don't think he'd get it there.
You don't think he'd get that close?
He's also this big compared to Godzilla in real life.
Yeah,
the original King Kong.
Yeah, if we're going original, for sure.
But it's fine. It's fine. We'll see what happens on that. That's another pot. Let's come back for that one.
What is that in like a couple of weeks?
31st.
Yeah, man, I'm stoked about that one.
This is such a great run of content, like you said, and then Mortal Kombat right after.
Mortal Kombat looks awesome.
We're spoiled. This is usually this is the dumping grounds, right? But this is going to be a spoiler. Like, oh my god, this is going to be a great spring.
A lot of people were pissed off that Warner Brothers was going to do this, drop everything on HBO Max, but I'm not upset.
I'm not complaining. I will go see Justice League in a theater if I can find it.
Right.
I just wanted to watch it right away.
Nothing's even open on my side. Like, I live by St. Louis, obviously. Nothing's even open over here right now to go see anything, so I have no choice. But I definitely want to see. I'd love to see it at IMAX since we got that weird aspect ratio, which you could play it on your tube TV back there.
Yeah, I could. It would fit right in. Look at Lady Kong over there hanging out.
Yeah. Oh man, I have that, and I haven't seen. That was the first exposure, by the way, for me, was seeing that.
Do you have a DVD of it?
I don't. No.
What do you have? Do you have a VHS?
No, I don't have anything for it.
Just download? Oh, you can't find it anywhere.
I haven't seen it since I was a kid.
You can't download it. It's not on Amazon. The only place I could find it was on VHS because I used to watch the crap out of this movie when I was a kid, and I couldn't find it at all. So hopefully,
it's the one where he gets the heart transplant, right?
Yeah, it opens up with Linda Hamilton giving him a heart transplant. It's awesome.
I gotta find.
And Lady Kong has like saggy boobs. It's like really weird.
Oh man, I have to bootleg it somehow. I don't know. It's I bet you I could find it somewhere. But let's get into the Snyder Cut. My buddy Garland popped on. His likeness is an Operation Eclipse, Blade Brown. He says greatness and that he loved it. I loved it too. I was very curious. I read reviews. I stay away from spoilers. I read and most of the stuff I read was glowing, and people had problems with the runtime mostly. I'm like, that flew by for me.
Yeah.
I was ready to watch it again. Also, I was like, I could watch this again, and I did go through, and like my son wanted to watch the flashback scene again, with Zeus and Ares and all that stuff, and we are going to get into spoiler talk. But before we get to the spoiler talk, I'll throw the spoiler icon on the screen. But initial thoughts, Vince. What do you think of no spoilers, Snyder Cut? Initial thoughts. And before you go, please share. If you're on Facebook, share this. Get us some people in, and let us know what you think in the comments. They'll pop up on the screen. when I see him come in. Go ahead, tell me your initial thoughts.
If I could sum it up, I would say that justice is served. Zack Snyder delivered. This is,
Yeah,
if Warner Brothers would have supported and been patient and let him do what he did, this franchise would have righted the ship at this, and we would be in a world of a Ben Affleck Batman solo movie, and probably lots of other things. And a lot of things make sense to me now, like Ben Affleck's face in all those interviews of why he felt the way he did, contrasting cuts, knowing what was. If I was on that crew and I knew what that was capable of, and what came out in 2017 came out, I would feel that like it died. Like I would feel like all that work, and all gone. I think I'm glad that this happened. I'm just really happy that this happened.
Yeah, you know, as a big I've been reading DC comics since I was 8 or 9 years old, so we're talking 30 years plus, and I'm a fan of Batman versus Superman. I like it. I liked it initially, and then when the Ultimate Cut came out, I liked it even more. Man of Steel was awesome. I don't know why people have such a problem with a dark universe. We just got out of the Dark Knight world, you know, with Christian Bale and Christopher Nolan. If those weren't dark, I don't know what the hell, you know. So like, I don't know what people's problem is, because these I mean, Superman with his story, I think they're building up to him being that symbol, that beacon of hope, and I think by the end of this movie, and even the cut we saw in 2017, you know, when he rips his shirt open and flies away, we were seeing that Superman that we all knew and loved. Plus, Zack Snyder had a vision, and you know, it's like when George Lucas went back to edit the original trilogy, people bitched and bitched. I'm like, hey, it's his movie, you know, let's see his vision. Yeah, this is yes, let's bully Warner Brothers for a sequel. There's I don't see how they couldn't. Like, I think his name's Walter Hamada said that this is a creative cul-de-sac because it's not going to go anywhere. But you got,
what do you mean?
So many people love this, like wanted this to happen. I mean, how many people did hashtag release the Snyder Cut over the past 4 years, and then it ended up happening. And it's like, how can you say that you don't want to go any further with this? I don't understand it. Like, I want to see what happens next. I want to see the Legion of Doom with you know, Darkseid, Deathstroke and Lex and Captain Cold and all these characters that I grew up with, really.
Yeah.
This was a fun movie. I loved it. I loved it. I literally, there were tears coming down in certain parts, you know. It's like, I've read comics for so long. I saw comics on screen, and I've seen that with Marvel too, but I'm not as connected with Marvel as I am with DC. So you know,
I'm in like a neutral territory. I mean, I'm not a big comic reader. I've read a lot of Batman, read a lot of Wolverine. I've read different like specific stories I've gone and sought out, but I haven't been someone who would like get the articles every week. Like, I want to buy the compendium and I want to read it all at once. Like, that's kind of how I work with comics, and that's kind of like me. And for this, it was like, I love what Marvel does for what they do. Like, I love how it was all connected, and like, because through this whole time preparing to watch this, I went back and watched all the Marvel films. I watched all the DC films, and I'm sitting back and going like, why are we so angry about all of this? Like why I don't understand why this is. It's like, it's such a good like yin and yang of what's there, and everyone's so focused on like, it's got to be the best, and you got to say it's the best, and it's got the most of this. It's like, no, just build the audience for what they want. And I think that like it matches a DC audience. And you know, I'm not the biggest fan of Man of Steel. I love Batman versus Superman. Wonder Woman was good. Aquaman was for me. It was Aquaman was kind of like, it was okay. I think of all the films, it was like, okay. I really like Shazam. Yeah, I don't know. There was something about Aquaman that I liked it, but I wasn't as big on it because it felt like, as like when you compare the Aquaman that was in Justice League to the Aquaman that was in Aquaman, it was like going from like dark brooding like drama to like LSD festival of like kind of you could see the lighter tone kind of taking over. And like, I think for me watching Justice League, I could understand how Zach got like full reign on this one. So he just got to make whatever he wanted. You could probably see when you go back and look at the films where you could see the executive fingerprints where they're trying to like move the story along, or like things kind of happen quickly in Man of Steel, in my opinion. There's a section where all of a sudden the film just goes and it's like, wait, there's a little bit more to explore here. It feels like we're rushing into things.
But after about the hour mark, really
and then all of a sudden it just zips through the end and you're like, this feels like there's a lot more here that we're not being able to see.
I think I like Man of Steel quite a bit, but it suffers from the Batman Begins-ism, I guess, because you don't see Batman until 1 hour. You don't see Superman until 1 hour. And Christopher Nolan's, you could see his fingers on that movie. Not that
that's true.
Wrong with that, but well, get the hell out of here if you haven't watched it, Alex.
No, I mean we're not going to be spoiling it.
Yeah, I'm going to do another live stream probably tomorrow or Saturday with a couple other guys too. So, but Vince got first dibs.
Yeah, we're both. Yeah, I mean it's day off. We gotta. I like took the day off from work to do this. Like, I was like, please, I gotta watch this movie before anyone else does because I don't want to see spoilers. Like I read one review that was negative because I was just like, what's wrong with this person? Like, what don't they see? And
I don't get it either. I see these reviews like, what am I missing that you're seeing that's not good?
Yeah,
and I tune those people out anymore because. I learned with BVS that, and actually The Dark Knight, because I really didn't care for The Dark Knight all that much. But I learned with those movies that I have my own opinion, and not everybody's going to share that opinion. But the thing is, with BVS, it seems like people have started to come around on that movie more so than when it was released, which I'm happy to hear. But
which also comes at the end of an Ultimate Cut, where Zach goes in and goes, "Here's where it's supposed to be in there."
Here's where the studio chopped my balls off, and you missed a bunch of stuff. I mean, there's some gratuitous like blood on the wall after a guy getting his head smashed and stuff like that probably didn't need to be there, but like everything else that was involved in that made it so much better. And I was excited to see Justice League, and the first trailer came out, and I was so excited about it. And then tragically, Zach's daughter, she died. I don't want to get into how. But she died, and Zach had to leave the project, which he should have. And Warner Brothers should have fucking waited for him. And we talked about this off air. I think they missed out on a boatload of money. And they might get some money from this, but probably not. I don't think as much as they would have gotten, because if this movie, first of all, I know it wouldn't have been a 4-hour cut. I think it could have come in at 3 hours maybe. And I could see.
Yeah, there's some stuff.
But I don't think it would have been 4 hours, so I'm glad we did get this cut. But still, the Batman with Ben Affleck was coming, like you said. I mean, a Green Lantern movie, a Cyborg movie, which I'd like to see, the Flash movie. There's so much that was going to happen, and maybe even a Man of Steel 2. Which, God, please, can we get a Man of Steel 2? I
mean, I would have loved to have seen Brainiac in that world. You know what I mean? God. Like that's something I would have loved to have seen. Then you have the dark side impending, like Doom. Like what?
Well.
Oof. So many.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, like with Batman, the good thing about Batman is in the 90s and 89, we got to see a good portion of his rogues gallery, but we've never really seen Supermans. We've seen Zod and some made-up villains, a robot lady or a computer lady.
Never seen Brainiac, right?
Never seen Brainiac, except for Smallville. And I think he was on the Supergirl show, but in a Superman movie.
But theatrical.
Right. And there's others. There's Metallo. There's what's his name? The fucking Mitz Pitalik or whatever. I don't think we'll ever see him. Parasite. There's a lot. He's got his own big rogues gallery. Mongol's another one from Warworld. I would have loved to see, but I'm glad we finally got to see Darkseid on screen. By the way, I guess that's a spoiler. Although they've been shown in the trailer.
No, he's in the trailer. That's not a spoiler.
So we've finally gotten to see Darkseid decide. Even Granny Goodness was in there. Nate, are you at work? Says revisited Man of Steel BVS this week, and I think they have aged well. We were so in the Marvel brand at the time that I think these films. That was a big problem. Not a problem, but people were there. There's that comparison. That's there's nothing like Marvel, and I think that's why they did what they did with Justice League in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. They tried to put it on brand. It's like wine. It's like you can't drink one wine and then go right to the other one. You have to rinse your palate. And like it's tough to go from Marvel to it's probably tough to go back and forth for general audiences. And so giving it some time. Yeah. I think these films age well because of the craft that goes, I mean, that's the one thing about this film. It's like the craft of how every piece is kind of put together. I mean, people complain about like high theater prices. Like I think a 4-hour cut of this in an IMAX screen would be worth every penny. You know what I mean? Because you're getting that much of a film, and it's exciting and it's emotional. Like one thing that really got to me during the film was I kept thinking about Zack, and I was actually thinking about his daughter a lot. And I'm just thinking about scenes because there's a lot of themes with loss in there. And I kept thinking like, man, what emotional roller coasters he must have went through cutting this and putting this together. And like, I could feel it. And like, I think there were moments where like, I don't know if it was an intention, but I could feel his sadness on screen and it was coming across. And so it was very effective. I was very surprised by that because I wasn't expecting to be so emotional.
A lot of it came through Cyborg, I think.
Oh yeah.
You know, I mean, there was a lot going on with Cyborg in this movie.
Way more than what's in the
So he becomes throw down the spoiler, just in case we slip.
Yeah, let's go spoiler. Let's go spoiler thing.
There's spoilers.
Spoilers.
Sound effect for that. Spoilers. Yeah. So if you haven't seen the movie, step away because we're gonna probably divulge some things that happen. I mean, if you've seen the 2017 movie, it's very similar but different. Which is very odd. Like, you know, the feeling after seeing the movie, I was like, that was very similar to the other movie, but so much better. And there was so much more character development. And there were like one thing that struck me right away was that scene with Wonder Woman with the terrorists. Like she, you know, they cut the shit out of that in the theatrical cut, and there was so much more to it, and it was so much better. You know,
it made her way more powerful, and like I was like, man, Wonder Woman's a fucking badass.
Yeah.
I'm like,
do you want to see Zack Snyder direct a Wonder Woman movie? Because I do.
Yeah, I definitely do. I want to see. I mean, no offense to Patty Jenkins, but I kind of want to see like a mega crazy. Oh man, how he like the way he told the story of like all the Amazonians and that battle with the Amazon. Oh my God, it's so much. All the fighting was way better.
Yeah,
the fighting.
Did that not remind you of 300 a bit?
Oh, totally. People getting chopped in half, heads cut off. This was a very brutal movie. That's definitely.
That's Zack Snyder, though, man. I mean, I don't know if you ever seen Sucker Punch, but that's a balls to the wall movie. You know, that's not great, but
every character is really redeemed. I mean, there's even Lex Luthor. I'll say that I was, as much as I hated him in Batman versus Superman, when he was on that boat with the shaved head and it wasn't so spasticky, and he just kind of focused down to laser focus Lex.
He was Lex Luthor, like he was classy and very intelligent, not like, you know, like he almost like had
like he wasn't Batman versus Superman, which is very distracting and odd.
That was one of my favorite parts because that was one of the post-credit scenes. But I love Deathstroke and seeing him, and that's where I feel robbed is knowing that Deathstroke and Batman were going to face off. Those are my two favorite comic book characters ever. Period. Are those two? And I feel robbed of that. I saw somebody post like, I'm okay with not getting a Affleck Batman movie, but I want a Henry Cavill Superman movie. It's like, why not both? I want both. I want Batman and I want Cavill back.
I think the fans are there to support, and I think the fans are there to support multiple projects. You know what I mean? Like if they want to go forward with another Superman project, just like they're going forward with another Batman project, I don't see the harm in having two universes going at the same time because, I mean, we're all going to watch it. You know, I mean, I think it's fine.
I mean, first of all, they've got Tyler Hoechlin on CW doing Superman, and I don't know if you've watched Superman Lois. It's really good, and he's great. But it's obviously separate from Henry Cavill, you know. And then there's the Batman with Robert Pattinson, which looks great. And then I mean, they don't look exactly the same. Their costumes are different. Come on, and you know, you're setting up a multiverse with the Flash movie because I know they said Keaton's going to be in it and possibly even Matt Affleck. So,
well, and it's nice that like that will kind of continue this story because what the Avengers had was all those things that were setting up all the Avengers movies. Like when I went back and watched them, I saw how clever they were setting things up in certain scenes. I was like, oh, it's very obvious that this connects to that, and yada yada yada. This Justice League connects to all. I can see how it connected to all the films that were to come.
Yeah.
That's why I think Aquaman got shifted a little bit off course of what Zack was probably originally intending. Although, I'm sure James had his own kind of like thing that he could do off, like just like Patty Jenkins doing her own thing with Wonder Woman, and everybody kind of like takes over the other characters. But like with Batfleck, definitely. And then with the Flash's story is set up so well for like even him doing like oh my God, the change of like when he reverses time.
That was unexpected.
I was like, wait, what? That's completely just how this scene goes.
My son says, oh, so he's pulling a Superman. Reversing time. Superman. I was like, hey, good for you. Yeah, you're right. He is kind of.
But the way that scene comes together, like running and everything coming back together in front of him.
That was so fucking cool. That was
one pulling back out. And then because then you can think about the old movie and about how they just made it simple, where it's like, well, it just stitches and he touches it at the right time. And that's the difference between like of version 1 of an idea and version 12 of an idea. You know what I mean? You start with the thing, and that's what Justice League 2017 really feels like. It just feels like the first pass idea just to get it done and to just connect it to the front to the back. Not how do we make these scenes special? And what the Snyder Cut does is make everything feel special. It makes everybody's story earned. And that's what good development does. That's when you let it, like if they would let Zack do the Pixar treatment to these films where he could just sit there and like kind of make it for 4 or 5 years, like, or if most filmmakers made their films like this, like not to say the circumstances of the way that this got made should be repeated, but if you from the start were like, yeah, it's going to be this long of a thing, it's kind of like what Cameron's doing with Avatar. Maybe you don't run into those like, hey, the movie's got to come out. Come on, we got to go. It's the thing. It's like, just have it ready in advance and just release it as you go, rather than trying to build the train, build the tracks as you're running down the train. I think that, that's how we get better quality, but it's not really how the industry works these days.
No, it's they get a release day. It's been like that for a long time though. Like you hear about like a Nightmare on Elm Street 4 that we had the poster and the release date before we even started or had the script,
Yeah,
and I don't think it's exactly like that for something like this. But the one thing that I don't like about this whole DC universe is I don't think there was a big plan involved. I think they were waiting to see how Man of Steel did and going from there. Where I think Kevin Feige was planning on this big ass universe with Marvel, and I think that could have hurt them because I do feel like there should have been a movie between Man of Steel and BVS, maybe a Batman,
like a Batman movie.
Yeah. And I and they started like setting things up. I mean, there's a 3-year gap between Man of Steel and BVS, and then they started like, I mean, DC and Marvel DC and Warner have gone through so many like announcement schedules, like at Warner what is it, San Diego Comic-Con, you see all these they're coming out with the Green Lantern Corps, Flashpoint, this, that, and the other. It's like, but how many of them are going to stick? The answer, none. So, but I don't know. This is a big win for the fans, I think, and a big win for Zack. And I hope that he gets the chance to somehow at least finish his story or do something else. I think I would love to see him do a Wonder Woman or a Batman movie.
I would love to see them turn this into like, if the Batman and Matt Vaughn are going to take over the theater, like what if Zack took this as like a series on HBO? Or yeah, that's what I meant.
That would be cool. There was like talks about doing a Batman, like a 6-episode show to kind of just do that. That'd be great. I'd be fine with that. As long as I get a physical copy at some point.
What spoilery things should we jump into?
I mean, I don't know, because the thing is, like, the movie plays out almost the same as the 2017, so it's almost not that spoilery. There are some things like dark side stuff, like that towards the end, and the nightmare sequence, the reach around.
That was so funny,
dude. I gotta tell you, talk about a character redeemed. Let's talk about Jared Leto's Joker, because He was awful in Suicide Squad, and well, and not even completely awful. He's just not what I expected, and he looked terrible. But this scene with him, and spoiler alert, Batfleck, just fucking brilliantly written, in my opinion.
I know, it was
Oh
so
my
good.
god.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of the reach around line, but whatever, it's Joker.
It's
But
Joker.
I like that he's like, I will fucking kill you. And then Joker
Yes.
stares at him for a second,
Kill
like,
you.
you almost had me. Because he knows Batman's not gonna kill him. This is his
Yeah.
best friend. That's what he even said that shit. God, I loved it. I think that he was redeemed. We talk about character redemptions. I think Leto's Joker is fucking redeemed, and I want to
Yeah.
see him and Batman together again. Like,
Yeah, I want to see that road movie. You know what I mean? Come on, give us a fucking buddy comedy, like Run with Batman and Joker. That would be a great movie. That would be.
It would be. I mean, I don't know if it was David Ayer's direction for the Suicide Squad Joker, or even if it was the way it was cut. Because
they do say that there's a David Ayer cut and there's more Joker in it. And
bring me the David Ayer cut.
Man, that's release the Ayer cut. That's what we want.
That's the next one that's going to be trending.
I don't know if I'm going to be I don't know if it will do what it did for me for Justice League. I think that there are other bigger issues with Suicide, but you never know. Now the question is, it's like, how many more films are worth doing this for? Because if you can do this, if you can go back and be like, yeah, the studio really screwed this one up. Like, hey, you want easy hits? Like, I mean, like, you're remaking movies. Why don't you just like recut some movies? Because you already got the footage. Go pay an editor, go in there and do a better job, or it's not a rush job.
There are people saying that this sets a dangerous precedent, but at the same time, I mean, we know there are movies that got cut poorly, and actually Nate's saying something about it now. Joker and Suicides. There's the thing. He never seemed to get a full scene. Well, a company who cuts trailers cut Suicide Squad, and Jared Leto himself said that there was so much filmed of him as Joker that they could have made their own movie. And I know there are scenes in one of the trailers where you see Joker with a grenade. He pulls the pin and he's got and it's like, where did that go? What was going on? There's so much. I think the Warner had a knee-jerk reaction with Suicide Squad after BVS got such poor ratings, and they were like, "Oh, let's brighten this up, let's make it neon pink and green and shit."
Panic mode.
Yeah, it was, and it backfired on them, and then. Who knows if we ever get to see an Ayer cut? Maybe it'll be like 10 times better. And I mean, that's part of the Snyderverse. Seriously, I mean, how much could it cost I wonder. I'm pretty sure with the Ayer cut, it would be everything's probably already filmed. Zack Snyder needed to finish visual effects. They might just need some visual effects work.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, the thing is, it's like, again, the investment. I mean, I think the Snyder thing is gonna make the investment worth it. Editing some choices. Yeah, I mean, you do that, you get a good cut of it. It's gonna make those sales VOD. People are gonna be interested. It's controversial. People are gonna talk about it. I think that it's a good thing. I mean, right now, it's funny how superheroes, it's like pivoting almost right now in this kind of downtime between franchises as they kind of get ready. Like Marvel's downtime is going to series and taking their major theatrical, film stars and putting them on Disney Plus. So like the first two edition things of Avengers that you really need to follow are on a streaming platform. They're not in the theater. What is it? Scarlet, and then like Black Widow, is that going to be like it's got to be a past movie?
Yeah, it has to be. I think it takes place between Civil War and Infinity War.
Okay, so you have that time. So that doesn't really kind of I mean, maybe it adds like some side. I do like the way that they somehow kind of thread each, like the bigger narrative, even into the flashback movies in a way. And then I can't remember what kind of comes after that, but it's going to be interesting to see where they go with it. But with the Snyder stuff, before the new kind of Batman and Superman stuff gets figured out with those things, there's so much more here for Warner Brothers to invest in, knowing that now that like, hey, like the critic response to this is positive. when you stop meddling and panicking and stop trying to be Marvel, when you fully commit to, like, that's a big problem studios do, is that they waffle, they try to straddle the fence. You know what I mean? Like a director has a vision, but but the audience, general audiences want this, and this is what's successful, and this is what's proven. And when you only get like a half version of somebody's vision, it obviously destroys it. And I think it definitely hurt him in the past. And when he went full Zack Snyder and he's fully unleashed on his film, you get something that fulfills, it kind of brings it to that level of like, it's so epic and it's so grand that it kind of finally, like, I feel like I'm getting the full power of what he's trying to show me, rather than like, oh, I can tell what it wants to be, but it's not quite there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I had a lot of respect and hope for what he did after I watched. I loved his Watchmen.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Watchmen was fantastic. I know it was not exactly the same as the comic towards the end and everything, but I mean, the characters, we wouldn't have the DCEU or whatever the way it is without that movie. I mean, you can tell that's where it all kind of began. I mean, look at even the costume design. Some of the costume design. Look at Night Owl and Batman; they're very similar.
Oh, the shot when he jumps out of like the Nighthawk thing and he lands, that's the shot from Watchmen. I went, hey, that's like when Owlman jumps down from the thing. I was like,
into the prison.
Yeah. I was like, this is really cool. And that's what it felt like. It felt like watching the ultimate cut of Watchmen, which I love.
I do too. That's
over 3 hours. It gets way too much hate. It's another. You know what it is? I feel like critics just don't like Zack Snyder. Something about his aesthetic really doesn't appease them.
What is it though?
I don't know. I don't understand it.
I
feel like
comment earlier that he knows how to frame fight scenes. He does. I mean, go back to Batman Begins and how bad the choreographed fight scenes were in that. Like, they were really, really bad. The way they were filmed. Chris Nolan did better in the next two, but Zack Snyder seems to know how to do it from the get-go. I mean, look at Dawn of the Dead, first of all.
Yeah.
I mean, you go back to Dawn of the Dead, and they were not exactly fight scenes, but there are a lot of action scenes in that movie. And then you go to 300, and I mean, that's epic. People are complaining about his slow motion in this movie. Like, oh, if they didn't have so much slow motion, it would have been 2 hours long. So,
it's true, but he makes the moment between the moment count.
People label him another Michael Bay.
No. There's so much more nuance and craft and emotion and just skill. I mean, Bay has whatever skill he has for like the idea, for the big idea, but he has no storytelling chop. Like,
not really.
I mean, just the imagination he had. Like, I don't know how. Like, I don't know the comics well enough to say like how much did they tie this into Zeus and the Greece in like original DC. The way he does it in this, I was like, wow, that's a fucking brilliant way to like bring those two worlds together, make that real life. And it's kind of, that's crazy. Like, there's actual gods and monsters, and that's who these people are.
Because there are. I mean, Wonder Woman literally Ares is one of her biggest enemies throughout the comics I read when I was younger. So I mean, the gods were there, and they're just on a different plane. But that was. And plus, did you notice they made them bigger in this cut? They were bigger than humans. Like, I didn't notice. My son pointed out. I'm like, oh my god, you're right. That's how it should be. They should be bigger than humans. They're gods for I mean, look at Darkseid.
Yeah,
Darkseid's China.
I like how it was funny to see like the similarity of like Darkseid getting like the knife to the thing, and it made me think of Thor hitting Thanos.
Oh yeah,
and I could see. I like in my head. I went. I can hear the executive go, "Oh, it's too close." You know what I mean? Like, and I couldn't even like. But Endgame came out in 2018, right? Or like when did Infinity War come out?
This was planned and shot in 2016. So
yeah, so it's not like. I don't know. I can't remember what time.
That's another thing. It's not fair. They're comparing it to Endgame and Infinity War, which Infinity War came out in 2018. This would have been 2017, and they were filming in 2015 and 16. So
yeah,
it came first.
I think I want to talk about Cyborg.
Okay.
And one of the other things, like I said before, like Ray Fisher had such a good reason to be mad.
Yeah, he did. Oh my God, he did.
Wow, that's partial. I mean, this is almost like within the context of the Snyder Cut, there's a Cyborg movie. Yeah. Like, you could have literally cut the Cyborg movie from this movie and just make a cyborg cut.
There's plenty of flashback stuff. There's a lot of emotional stuff. I mean, that scene right before when he's right in the car with his mom, right before. I mean, he's about to break down. When he looks at his mom, he's got tears in his eyes. All of a sudden, the car comes out of nowhere and smashes in, and that's it. You know, I mean, that was emotional. And then that scene at the very end, whenever the mother box, the witches' spirits or whatever they are, coming out, they're trying to, you know, goat him into, you know, giving everything up and, you know, building his life again. He had a very emotional arc, you know. Like, God, I felt, like at first I was like, well, Ray Fisher, watching him, he was just kind of like a robot in Justice League in 2017, but I could see why he was so pissed and was like, he before anybody else was released the Snyder Cut. I'm pretty sure he was one of the first ones I saw they released the Snyder Cut.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it almost feels. And Cyborg was supposed to get a movie after this. He was supposed to have a solo movie, which I would like to see. I think Ray Fisher's a talented actor. Yeah,
I think that Walter Amato owes him an apology for blackmailing him. Oh, not blackmailing, for, you know, blacklisting him, you know, from the studio, basically. Like they said, like, we're parting ways. We're never going to work with him because of all like the anger that he has. I mean, there's nothing is forever if you have a conversation that remains civil and kind of understands. It's like, definitely, like, I think people at Warner Brothers, the people who are still there who can look back, like how whatever they did during this time, how it got to this point, they need to have a come to Jesus meeting. They need to get over whatever things they need to get over. They need to make penance and make peace with everybody and get this team back together and let them make more stuff.
Yeah.
Because this is a talented group of individuals that surround this project, from the cast to the crew to everyone involved, especially with like the production of like this. They really, like, they did stumble a little bit into this, but you know what? Marvel stumbled too. Like Iron Man 3 is not that great. Like Thor 1's not that good. Like Thor didn't become good until Ragnarok, really. Like Ragnarok was like the real homecoming for the Thor that really works for the Marvel universe when you really think about it. And this is the Thor Ragnarok of DC that kind of says like, bam, like this is the coming home for them. This is like where all the characters really kind of blossom and they're ready for their bigger stories. And unfortunately,
they went a different way than what Marvel was doing. Marvel did all their single movies for each character, and DC was just going to spawn from this. And it's not too late. In my opinion, it's not too late to do that. I mean, you could go a different route with Batman, do the series like they're doing with Disney Plus stuff, but like, and there are people who are worried, well, what's it going to do to the movies that came after Aquaman, Shazam, and Birds of Prey? Nothing. It doesn't do anything to them. It shouldn't affect
the same outcome.
Yeah. Well, Shazam, I mean, they show the Batarang and Superman's at the very end of it.
Yeah.
You know, and then Aquaman, I think Aquaman wasn't messed with at all, because I think they were shooting Aquaman before this was even released. So I think the Aquaman was barely messed with. And they barely mentioned Justice League anyway. So, but Shazam and Birds of Prey might have been the totally different situation. And then there's the Suicide Squad movie that's coming out a couple months from now too.
Yeah, I don't know how that's really gonna play into the whole thing, but I mean, but that's the thing. It's like you can kind of like you can forgive it a little bit. Like not everything's perfect in the Marvel things. There's continuity errors there too. You know, there's like, you know, that kind of like feeling of like, oh my God, they were aliens. Well, didn't Samuel L. Jackson really in this timeline figure out they were aliens many years ago? Like, you know, speaking of aliens, Martian Manhunter making an appearance. I didn't realize he was going to have as much screen time as he did. I was expecting that cameo to be like, ugh, like they're just going to flash it and it's going to go away. But two really good, nice moments.
Yeah, that first moment when the
surprised me.
I'm like, what's going on with Martha? And then I'm like, oh my God, my kid we watched the Justice League show from 2000s, you know, the Bruce Timm show, and my daughter just adores Martian Manhunter, and she saw him. Tears were coming out of her. A 7-year-old kid, you know, she's so excited. She said it's Martian Manhunter, of course. She said Martian Manhunter. I'm like, no, he's not Russian.
Russian Manhunter.
They're excited too. My kids, by the way, 7 and 11, sat through this entire movie. Did not get up.
Impressive.
When I made popcorn. Well, I got up, made popcorn, and we ended up ordering pizza. So I was like, hey, let's get pizza. We may as well get pizza right now too. So yeah, my kids were able to sit through it. This went, in my opinion, it did. I loved Endgame, but this did not seem like it was as long as Endgame. And Endgame is an hour shorter than this. Yeah. What? Hold on one sec. What? Give me 1 second. Go ahead and tell them the story.
Yeah. So I'll go ahead and tell them the story. Yeah. Let's think about something else that I really loved about the film. Let's see, Batman's story in this, obviously, and I got to talk about this one right when he gets back. But to me, like, one of the things that really pissed me off about the Jossic League is that they tried to make Batman funny. They tried to make Batman Tony Stark, and it did not work at all. I love Ben Affleck, and I think he can be a comedic actor. I think that him trying to be Batman, trying to be funny, which Batman is only funny when he remains serious, when everyone else is kind of like doing different things. Like, to me, the funniest, like when Aquaman is on the thing and he looks at Batman and he says, "You really are insane." Like, I'm talking about like how much better Batman is in this film. Even though like there's moments where Batman's good in the other film, like the injection of comedy kind of really undercutted, I really think, what makes a great Batman. And yeah, Batman is not Tony Stark. And in this one, they really let him just be Batman. And the comedic moments where he never tried to be funny, he was just being Batman.
Yeah.
And that's what makes Batman funny. Like when he just like what's funny about Batman? He'll fly into that thing and smash everything, and like he has no superpowers, and he's doing the things he does at the end of the movie, or the way he's fighting, or just the way he handles the situation. But I was saying that like my favorite thing
is when he's getting headshots on parademons with weapons. That was awesome.
I mean, he's so. Oh man, I really like Batman's the best.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, Batman. That was not good.
It was one of the biggest detractors for the film for me.
Yeah,
because I mean, Batman really kind of. I mean, that's my favorite part of this entire universe is his Batman, the way that he's portrayed, the older Batman, which I think is really cool, the seasoned Batman, the jaded Batman. But it was like cool to see Batman have faith. Like, that's crazy. Batman's never had faith in humanity.
I like that line as they're flying away. It's about faith. How do you know that when he says, "How do you know Superman will show up?" It's, "I got faith."
Yeah,
and he kind of had like his voice was jovial. You know, I think he was very happy. I mean, because in the 2017 cut, when he went to,
I did not like you.
Yeah, right. But he was going to kill himself. He was going to sacrifice himself to help the team, and he wasn't even good. There's nothing like that in this one, which I really like. That I can remember. Something I had thought about just that was kind of weird, but I loved was when Diana's trying to make tea and Alfred's kind of hovering over her. Like, God, this is Alfred right here. I love that scene.
Speaking of another redemption story, Ezra Miller's Flash, the redemption story on him as far as like getting his story told, and his comedy, so good.
Yeah.
He's funny. He's a funny Flash.
He wasn't even trying to be funny. Like I felt like in the other one he was trying too hard. You know, like the whole Pet Cemetery stuff. But I got drawn a blank on what he said towards the end it made me laugh pretty hard. I gotta watch it again.
I know, that's the thing. I was thinking about that. I was like, man, I wish that like I jumped right in after it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where I had done a second watch to really, really think about it, because like I think for me it was like, it's really sweet the moment that he saves the girl, which is in the trailer. The patients he had the Batman doesn't show up till part 5. And it was cool how it was its own like segment. Like it was a discussion, and like the way it played out. I mean, a lot of this thing it really came down to the cut. It was the same idea, but it was the way it got to the idea, which is so important in editorial. That's the most important thing in editorial. It's not like how do we get the idea? It's how do we set up to get the idea? What do we really do to get to that moment? What are we building towards? And this, like when Superman shows up, like in the other one, it's really corny. And then all of a sudden he's not fighting anymore. He's out saving the Russian families and stuff like that.
This guy bothering you. I think he says that whenever he flies in. It's like,
But in this, I think one thing that like really got me in this was, and I'm like, I'll admit, like I'm not a giant Superman fan. Like I'm a huge Batman fan. like Superman, like I kind of know him from the movies. I know some of the comic things. And I was talking to Cecil Laird from the horror show, and he's a huge Superman fan. He's like, no, man, you got to get into the depths of like Superman and all this stuff. And so I started to kind of learn more about Superman. And so when the Superman that shows up at the end of this movie to kick, what's the horn guy's name again? It just slipped my mind.
Steppenwolf.
Steppenwolf. Yeah, when he like he beats the shit out of him mercilessly. Like I didn't know Superman had that in
him. He just keeps pounding him. I'm like, yes. He just keeps pounding him like Jesus. And one of them sitting there like, yeah. You know, like, yeah.
That was like Office Space when they're beating the fax machine. That's the end of the movie. It's like a superhero version of like that fax machine, and Steppenwolf is that fax machine. And when they toss him back through that portal to Darkseid's feet, it's just like, wow, mic drop.
Somebody needs to take that and cut it with some Ghetto Boys from that scene from Office Space when he's beating Steppenwolf. That'd be amazing. Yeah, no, that was one thing I knew about actually, because Zack Snyder mentioned it at some point over the last 4 years that one of the scenes that happened was she cut off his head and landed at Darkseid's feet. When the you know what killed me was when he got to Darkseid's feet, how small he was compared to Darkseid.
Yeah, you know what else really scared me? That for the first time, I actually really got scared about, like, we'll get to Steppenwolf in a second. We're kind of jumping the shark to get right to Darkseid, but I was actually like, how Darkseid didn't even care.
Yeah.
After that guy was the whole movie like, I just want to appease you, and then finally he fails, and he's just like, whatever, fuck it, I'm gonna do it myself.
We'll just do it the old-fashioned way.
Yeah,
whatever. I mean,
straight up invasion
worlds anyway. So
good old-fashioned imperialism.
Yeah, I mean that's what Darkseid is. I mean,
yep.
Darkseid doesn't care about anybody except for the anti-life equation. Really, I mean, if you ever read the comics with him, that's all he cares about. And I think they capture that, and I thought Darkseid looked good. But yeah, I do want to talk about Steppenwolf real fast if we can, because he was way different than what he was in the other cut. And Nate
felt bad for him.
Was mediocre. Oh no,
mediocre. Yeah, no, he says that mediocre.
Yeah,
it was so good. Yeah, no, I felt for him. And I was a person that when I first saw his armor change, I was like, so what? You know what I mean? I was really like, but to see it in motion and to see the way it interacted with him, I was like, oh, this is.
He was full of arrows and he just kind of, snapped off. I was like, ooh, that's cool.
And then the way he was able to kind of dress it down, and the way he did when he approached Darkseid, and his whole emotional, like, trying to earn that back, like, I felt for it. I was like, wow, like, I kind of like, I understand what his drive is now. Like all the films had drive. Yeah. So I was really,
I liked his look. I like that he, like
the acting.
I'm like, what, in the comics, he looks like a dude. He just looks like a guy. He's got a beard and everything. But I like the way he looked. I love the way his armor moved. I also like that he didn't seem like he was as big as the other one. Like I said, we went back and looked at the other movie and kind of skimmed through it. And as soon as I saw the Steppenwolf, which at the time I didn't care what he looked like, I looked at he does not look good at all compared to this new Steppenwolf. And he was more terrifying too, like especially that Amazonian sequence, and Themyscira. That was like he fucking kicked their ass, and God,
did it fall into the ocean? In the original cut?
No, it didn't. No, it stayed. It was the building was still. He cut an X with his axe and came out of the building. Yeah, it's that whole scene. I mean, there's a lot they kept from the original cut, which I guess Whedon kept from the original cut. But there's a lot more going on, like with it falling into the ocean, all the parademons and Steppenwolf jumping out of the ocean, and I mean, it was so much better, way more action packed, and that's another thing I noticed that the Amazonian, they must have reshot some of the stuff inside the vault or whatever because their costumes were different. I noticed because I watched it last night; they weren't as sexified. I guess Joss Whedon is like a depraved sexual maniac or something like that. Because another scene I noticed is when Bruce gets to Gotham with Barry and Wonder Woman's waiting there. And they come down this little whatever it's called, like the elevator
lift. Yeah.
Yeah, and then coming down. Well, there's a close up of her ass in the Whedon cut. It's not in the Snyder cut. Like it's like she's wearing those leather pants, and it shows a close up of her ass, and it's like this is not 1997 where you can do that stuff, you know. So, but it wasn't in the Snyder cut, which I mean, I actually looked for that because I'm like, why has he got it's right on her ass, you know, and they didn't do that. So I do think Joss Whedon did over sexualize some things, and like this, there's that scene where Flash, you know, trips after he pushes her sword to help her, and she falls. He falls with her face right in her boobs.
And I think that he lifted that joke from Ultron. Apparently, he had the same thing happen in Ultron with Black Widow and somebody else.
Well, Hulk.
Yeah.
Mark Ruffalo when he dove over. Yeah, that's right. I didn't think about that.
Mm-hmm.
He's a one-trick pony, I guess. Joss Whedon.
Yeah, one of the things I read was that one of the things that came out was that he was so mad about people like dissing on Ultron at the time because Ultron wasn't very well received as far as like Marvel movies. It was probably one of the I think critically one of the lesser received ones. Fans weren't really like big about it, and that was one of the things that they complained about too. And so like he kind of came with that chip on his shoulder, like, oh, they didn't like it, blah, blah, blah. And he tried to do the same tricks again to try to get them to work this time.
Well, a
but
lot of
made
Age
it
of
worse.
Ultron was very much like the first Avengers anyway.
Yeah, so, true.
Yeah, and then he tried to bring that over to the Justice League movie. And I mean, that DC and Marvel really shouldn't have put him in charge or anybody. They should have just wait it out, push the movie back. It sure would have pissed people off, but it would have been better if Zack got the time and finished the movie. But again, we wouldn't have gotten this big ass ultimate cut until it came out probably on Blu-ray or something like that. Even then, we might not have gotten because
we probably would have got this eventually. Like it would have been like that Watchmen cut.
Yeah, that Watchmen cut. I'm really in the mood, by the way, to watch that. After watching this, like I heard of watch Watchmen again. So so we talked about Cyborg a little bit, Steppenwolf, a little bit on the Flash, Batman. What else we got?
I mean, Nathan brought up something good before about like how long they wait for Superman, the bringing back of Superman. I think I understood a little bit more of like him not, again, like removing the comedy from that scene, and him kind of doing that. Like I thought the payoff of him like remembering who he was set up a lot better.
Yeah.
Which was really, really cool.
Big guns. She just kind of they set that up early in the movie. Like she gave that guy coffee, that Jimmy Olsen from the Superman movies. That was Jimmy Olsen. Mark I can't think of his name, but that was the guy who played Jimmy Olsen from the old Superman movies. Mark McClure. Anyway, so early in the movie they showed her pick up coffee, go drop it off to him, and oh, you're here again, huh? And then she goes again when he's being resurrected. He would have killed Batman if she hadn't shown up. If she wasn't there, Batman was dead.
They were all dead.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, most of that, a lot of that, not most of it, a lot of it seemed like it was the same because like he headbutt Wonder Woman, picked her up off the ground and fucking drilled her into the ground. I thought it was funny, like when Flash was running up and Superman just kind of does this move and he runs right into Aquaman. And
that was a good part.
That was really good.
I thought that you brought up a good point with that. The the whole thing with him coming like that whole him coming. That was I going to say about the Superman thing was the way his death made the mother boxes come to life, which wasn't something part of the thing. I thought that was another thing that was like, oh yeah, Superman's that powerful that like the mother boxes would respect that there's like the Kryptonian on there, and the whole fact that like it pays off to his arc with the whole like losing his control, but then showing what happens when Darkseid can take control of Superman and why Batman was having those nightmare flashbacks in the first one, connecting the scene from Batman versus Superman where Barry Allen comes through the screen and he's yelling at him and he's got that contraption on and stuff like that. We got to see all of that connected. Yeah. I thought that was like, fine. Okay. Now I understand what they're setting up. This led to something. I think that was the other thing about the Whedon cut was that it snipped all those things off.
They got rid of all that stuff. All the stuff set up from BVS was just cut out of the Whedon cut, and it's a
much better way to open the film.
Yeah,
The only thing I enjoyed from the Whedon cut was like actually just watching Batman on the roof in the first one, even though it's a goofy kind of scene.
No, that was the same thing. People bitch about that, but I'm like, so the guy tosses the bag out, and he can see Batman through the reflection of the glass from the window, and you see Batman just perched up on that, kind of like a gargoyle almost or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That was all Batman until the Parademon shows up, and the thing that really bothers me about this universe is how loose everybody is with first names, because he was like Alfred. And the guy standing right there is like, dude, he's going to figure out who you are, because how many Alfreds are in Gotham? Seriously.
Yeah. Alfred.
And it's the same thing with Lois Lane. Throughout Man of Steel, she's like, Clark, yelling Clark all the time. Like, Christ. And then she leads the police to fucking the Kent farm at one point, and Superman's standing right there on the porch. It's like, no wonder Lex Luthor knew who these people are.
Yeah, right? Oh, my God. Yeah, that's something. What else? I'm trying to think of what else.
Are you talking about the rooftop scene, Nate? It did look like a cartoon.
It did. It felt very goofy.
We didn't get like a true Batman moment, I think, in any of these movies up to that point. Like, there's some scenes in BVS that work, like the warehouse fight, but like, I really, maybe it's just the thirst of me needing to see Ben Affleck get his own Batman movie.
Yeah, see him put the whole thread together. But I thought that Batman's redemption in this, to actually have like Martian Manhunter come out at the end and kind of have that moment with him to really kind of recognize Bruce as like the bringing together, like everything just felt like, now this has more meaning. This has momentum into the next thing. And that was really, really refreshing. And, I think back on the negative reviews that I read for this, and it's silly. The negative reviews that I see people writing about this film and the way they write about it, it just feels so personal. It's like, what did Zack do to you? Like, I gotta know, what did he slash your tires that you're this angry? Like, I read one reviewer was complaining about the way that the girl picks up the sweater and sniffs it. Which, yeah, it's a little silly, but I mean, it didn't like, I wasn't like, oh my God.
Did he have Axe body spray on? Is that why she sniffed it?
Yeah. Oh, and then Nathan brought it up before in one of the chats about how he has to have like he just keeps getting rid of his shirts. And I said he must have like packs of shirts like hidden on beaches around the world. So when he shows up, he can just put the shirt on and go into town.
Yeah, somebody said something about, I saw on one of my pages, like talking about Aquaman and his t-shirts. And it's like, why not just take your pants off too? Go full buff Aquaman. The pants are probably holding you back too.
You can use it to steer like a rudder.
You'd think that they'd be naked though. Wouldn't it be faster to swim like that? I don't know. I'm not a swimmer.
I guess. I mean, I don't think it really. It's like, I don't think it really matters for him. I mean, he swims with the whole suit on, but I guess those suits are built for it somehow. Did Steppenwolf in the first movie drag Atlanteans out of the sea and suffocate them like fish?
No, he just showed up there. Yeah, that was cool.
That was cool. That was really brutal. The whole mind thing.
Yeah, that was really cool. Because, well, that was one of the things I was wondering about, was in the Whedon cut, that whole scene in Gotham Harbor or whatever, where he's got the hostages and he's asking them, "Where's mother?"
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, how are they going to pull that off? Are they going to do the same shit they did? No, they didn't. They had that fucking device on their forehead that kind of showed what they were thinking or what they had seen, which I thought was really, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Really cool technology, because they even Wonder Woman mentioned that the technology that Darkseid, Apocalypse has, was way far advanced compared to anything they had on Earth at the time, and it still is, apparently.
I loved that flashback. Well, let's talk about, because I don't think we really talked about it too much, but the flashback scene with the gods versus Darkseid. We touched upon it, but we didn't really kind of dig into like the depths of it. And
there's a couple things I noticed that. Well, first of all, I love when Hippolyta yells Amazons and they all scream. But it was cool. We didn't get to see men, Amazons, and Atlanteans come together like they did in this, and then the gods. Who was the one with the bow? Who is that? I can't place who that is. Well, I wonder if I probably can look it up. But because you have Ares, you have Zeus, and like my son, that was the first thing he wanted to do was rewatch that scene over again and see how cool.
Yeah, it was really cool.
It was cool.
Was there ever a moment between the Queen of the Amazons and Zeus, did they ever share a moment? Because I mean, that's who Diana's father is, right?
Kinda. It depends on. I mean,
Where you
well,
coming?
in the Wonder Woman movie, she said she was made out of clay, but
Oh,
it
made out of
depends. It
clay.
depends on
I want to
which.
see that scene.
Yeah, which. Well, she's Zeus's daughter, I believe. You know,
Yeah,
Zeus had sex with everybody, so
yeah. Did you see him? I mean, come on,
I
guy's a
mean,
stud.
he is. He's a Greek god.
Yeah, right.
Literally. I gotta figure out who that was with the bow because she took a ship down. I was wondering if it was Artemis, but the thing about Artemis is there's also an Amazon named Artemis,
Mm-hmm.
because you know that arrow they shot was the arrow of Artemis, which that was great
Oh,
because now we know why Hippolyta was able to shoot an arrow across the fucking world.
yeah.
You know, like in Whedon's cut, she just does it. It's like, what the fuck, man? She's powerful.
Like bam. Yeah, you know, here's some we've been saying some glowing things. Like I'm happy to jump into some things like just to be nitpicky to kind of laugh about. Like I like how like one thing that's kind of funny is you have Amazonians in this fight with Steppenwolf. They're doing all the like you have the jacked Amazonians like holding up the things being really strong. They're
Yeah.
shooting things being really strong. And then at the end she can't lift a horse off of her off of the girl.
Right, yeah.
Like that was kind of like that's kind of funny.
She's sitting there dying. I mean, maybe the queen's out of shape.
Yeah,
You
maybe at
know,
that point they were just too tired. They were like, I give up.
she's
But
not
that
as
was
jacked as the others.
yeah, that was pretty funny.
Let's see. I'm trying to find who that woman was, but I
I
can't find
One of
anybody.
the comments says that yeah, Artemis does carry a bow, so it
Right, Artemis does carry a bow, but there's also Artemis wears the Wonder Woman armor also in the comics. So,
okay.
well, yeah, um,
That's funny.
yeah, I was kind of silly.
They're like,
I don't
just lift it up, strong person.
nitpick that song they sang after Aquaman
Yeah.
left was kind of long. I mean, it was fine. It reminded me of Theodred's death in the Two Towers, the extended edition. When I don't know how familiar you are with Lord of the Rings, but Eowyn sang this song, and it's like, oh, what's so long? And it was so long, and they did the same thing here.
Yeah, they did kind of like hang on to it a little bit.
Yeah. Look who's here.
Hey, look at this guy.
He's obsessed with you. Like he needs all the VHS copies you can give him.
I got another set in.
You hear that, Keith? More Never Hike Alone for you.
Well, I mean, they're all pre-sold, but they finally came in. I got the Never Hike Alone V4s, and I'm waiting on Never Hike in the Snow stuff. But yeah, I mean, I think that I think the question is, it's like everybody keeps saying never going to happen, never going to happen. You know what they also said never going to happen? A Snyder cut.
Yeah.
So yeah, if the studio smells money, they're gonna bite.
Yeah.
That's just the way Hollywood works. That the fastest way to change somebody's mind in this town is to flash some cash in their face.
If this does well enough, like if I know I've seen a lot of people on my Facebook say I just got HBO Max. Like if their subscriber count goes up like a ridiculous amount of people, because that could change a lot. Hey, is there any way you could talk? I got to take a whiz.
Go ahead
for a minute. I'm gonna put you on the main screen. I'll be back in just a minute.
Woo. All right, you're gonna get the pee break with Vinny DeSanti. How you guys doing? Yeah, I mean, I think that maybe it's if you guys want to throw some questions in the thing, I can kind of jump on it and kind of throw my opinion down on it. But yeah, I mean, I'd definitely be down for the Batman movie versus Deathstroke. They definitely set that up well at the end of the movie. Like we kind of talked about before, there was a redeeming scene for Lex. He was much more calm and collected and classy, as Ray said. But it was cool. When they showed Deathstroke in some of the teaser imagery, I was like, why is that even thing? I thought that was like test footage that they shot or something. I don't know how they weaved that in, or if that was a pickup or what that was. But that whole ending was like kind of like, here's where we're seeding all the ideas. Here's all like the post-end credit scenes that like we maybe could have done in different ways, shapes, and forms, but worked it into the cut. And I thought it was very effective to kind of, I don't know, it just felt like I felt spoiled. I mean, that's really how I felt about the entire cut. Is I really felt spoiled by the amount of content that films usually hold back from you because they feel like you can't, for whatever reason, like they got to have so many screenings a day. They got to go this or that. Yeah, Deathstroke looked way too bad. Yeah, I mean, it was so cool. It was cool to see that. And again, it's like it's another character that we haven't seen on screen yet. Yeah, I want to cosplay that. Like, talk about a cosplay costume that would be friggin' rad to have, just wear around the house. But the fact that like we've never had a Deathstroke movie. I mean, there's so many there's so many cast of characters that we haven't done in Batman movies, that we haven't done in Superman movies, that really are like some of the bread and butter stuff that people really don't know about. Like general audiences. I know when I started diving deeper into the comics and discovering more of the stories that were kind of out there, like we've really been kind of robbed of story. We just keep kind of telling the same characters over and over in this DC universe. It's always start back with the Joker, and we're back on the Riddler, and kind of these different things, which I'm looking forward to, like this darker Riddler in the new Batman. But I think what I was saying, Ray, was that like we really kind of got in this movie like spoiled for the fact of how much extra stuff we got and all the different threads that it was setting up.
Yeah.
And that like, it really, again, goes to show, to touch on your point about the cast of characters that have never been on screen before on the theatrical side, that this universe really could have served a purpose for.
There's a lot. Well, I mean, there's still a lot of hope for what's coming. I mean, they just cast a Supergirl for the Flash movie. So that's pretty cool, and then there's word that Michael Keaton's gonna be back. There's word that Affleck might be his swan song for this universe, which makes me think that they may do a Flashpoint. And I don't know how familiar you are with Flashpoint. That reset the whole DCU in the comics. Flash went back in time to save his mom, and it ended up, it was really cool actually. When he went back to the world where his mom's still alive, the Flash doesn't exist. He doesn't have his powers. Thomas Wayne's Batman. Deathstroke is a pirate, and the Amazons and the Atlanteans are at war, and it's about to end the whole world. It's so cool.
I watched the Warner Brothers has an animated version of it.
Yeah.
Flash. It's really good.
Yeah,
that's another thing I got into. It was all their animated stuff.
Their animated stuff. If you start with Flashpoint Paradox and go all the way up to Justice League Dark War, maybe something like, I can't remember what it's called, but dude, it's so good. And it's like, why couldn't they do this in live action is my question.
It's really a good testing ground for it. In fact, one of the things that I've been doing while I've been kind of like dealing with the COVID world, I was like, maybe I can get some work back in animation. And I was like, I would love to go work for Warner Brothers Animation and do those 2D, straight to video Batman movies. Like I would kill to work on one of those. It's probably a sweet gig.
Why don't you do some animation for me with Operation Eclipse? I mean, you got the shirt already.
I know, right? Well, we're doing we're doing animation for my next project, Ghost Chicken.
We'll bring you to St. Louis so you can shoot some Operation Eclipse stuff, and because it takes
let's build some costumes and do some fight scenes.
Yeah, we need to find somebody to play him. I can't do it. My flabby ass.
I'll get in shape.
Yeah, there you go. Well, how tall are you?
6'3".
Oh man, there we go. Let's do it.
I've always wanted to do. I definitely want to do a Batman cosplay one day.
You should.
I want to get a little bit bulkier and kind of do it and be like mid 30s Batman.
I did one when I was
Dad bought Batman,
and that was the last time I shaved my beard. Consequently, so we just got my friend Kurt says, "Holy shit! I just finished it. Holy shit! I'm glad you enjoyed it." Nate, I want to see Clayface really bad. Honestly, I mean, Batman's my bread and butter, and I mean, there's so many villains that I've never seen live action that I really, 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 really want to see. My friend Jeremy said he's in the shape to be the Penguin. Yeah, we could do a whole rogues gallery. I honestly would get in shape. I'm short, but I would get in shape to play a role in a Batman movie of some kind. Maybe Black.
Have to hold each other.
So,
oh, nice.
Yeah, Roman Sionis or Sionis or however they pronounced it in Birds of Prey. It was wrong. Anyway, I don't know. Did you see Birds of Prey?
I did.
Did you like it?
It really comes down for the fact that like I'm just not big on Harley Quinn, and this is from the start. This is just from when it started on the Saturday morning cartoon. I was like, ugh, the voice, and it was like Fran Drescher, nails on a chalkboard every time she talked, and I don't know, just not for me. Not for me. But I'm glad other people love it, and it's their thing. I know she's the second most popular DC comic character out there.
She is. It says Ray equals Robin. I'll tell you what, my son can play Robin. He's got a really nice Robin costume. Yeah,
You played Tim
I
Drake?
liked Harley Quinn back in the day. I mean, she was originated from that Batman the Animated Series show.
Mhm.
But I like this. My biggest exciting thing from that is my daughter's name, Helena, is that she was named after Huntress. And so when she introduced herself with her name, she actually said Helena, even though it's spelled Helena. I about lost my shit in the theater, and I went, yes, real loud in a theater full of people. And they're like, why? I'm like, that's my daughter's name. I'm like, I'm freaking out. I was so happy that, because I named her after Huntress, because in my head, when I read the comics, it was, and Batman hates Huntress. I don't know if you know that. He does not like her one bit, because she does excessive violence. I mean, big time. If you've never read Hush, Batman Hush.
I have read Hush.
You can see why.
Maybe I have to go back and look at
reread that. It's absolutely. And so going back to Affleck for a second, when they announced him, I think I was the only person on the internet that was like, yes, this is perfect, because he looks like Jim Lee's Batman, his Bruce Wayne. I mean, if you look at Batman or Bruce Wayne and Hush, that's fucking Ben Affleck. 100%.
Yeah. Oh, totally. I thought it was a good casting. I was like, this is great, and everybody talked about Daredevil, but I was like, I don't know, I'm good, and I loved it. Like, man, some of the scenes in Batman versus Superman where he's training, it like reminded me of like the Rocky Balboa training scenes. Where he's like true brute strength. You know what I mean? Like sheer
that fucking tractor wheel. Yeah,
yeah, bam.
Yeah,
but I was just like, and it reminded me of Frank Miller's Batman too. It reminded me of that cranky, dark old man who just was ready to kick Superman's ass. And that's like, that was one of the things that always made me like, the thing I love about Batman is that he's mentally insane. He's literally insane. And he does such a good job of hiding it, which is why it's so funny, because the Joker always knows that he's crazy. But when other people acknowledge it, like he's an absolute madman, it's just so funny to me. I was like, he's so insane. And I'm all for it.
Nate, I don't think we're going to see Robin ever.
I'm just going to keep talking about how he's dead.
yeah, no shit. That was good.
That was good.
But the only reason that we'd see a Robin maybe is if they do the Flashpoint thing and go back and get a whole new actor to play Batman in place, and it goes back to when Batman was younger. I have a weird feeling that this Pattinson movie, we're only going to get one of those, because I keep hearing
they don't work together well.
They do not work together well, from what I hear. It's like, well, they want to go with Batman, or they want to go with the director. And I mean, we're gonna have to recast Batman again.
No,
I heard Matt Reeves wanted that other guy that played Beast in the X-Men movies, Nicholas Hoult. I don't see it. Yeah, I don't see it.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So, I don't know, but I would love to see. I love Robin.
Nicholas Hoult would be a good Robin.
Yeah, well,
he's just not like, he's not. I mean, it depends. Are you doing like boy Batman? It's the same thing with like Tom Holland's a good actor, but I don't see him as Nathan Drake.
No, I don't either. I saw the pictures of him. I was like, what is he, 17-year-old Nathan Drake before he even hit puberty? Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see. I'm a wait and see guy. Like,
hey, Sully.
when what's his name, Pattinson was announced, I was like, at first I was like, people are gonna bitch about this. But then I did this thing. I put my hand over his face. I'm like, holy shit, he's got the jaw for it, for sure. So we'll see.
He looks good in the costume, and I don't know. I'm definitely down for this.
I'm down for Batman anytime. I really want. I would be fine if CW did a Batman show.
Chris Evans would be a good Drake.
Pretty well.
Have you seen the fan film with Nathan Fillion, which is another pretty good one?
Which one is that?
There's a fan film with Nathan Fillion that he plays Nathan Drake.
Oh no, I haven't seen that. No.
Oh yeah, that's on YouTube. It's a pretty cool thing. He's a pretty. I mean, he looks a lot like him, and he's got the same attitude. Like that's the type of comedy that Nathan Drake needs. Is that Nathan Fillion type of comedy? And Chris Evans is good at that too.
Yeah, Chris Evans would be good as Drake. I think. I think just about anybody could play Nathan Drake. Even what's his Chris?
Yeah, Chris Evans with some 5 o'clock shadow, he definitely. And dye his hair darker.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, I could see that. Tom Holland just was. I mean, his star is on the rise, and I think that's probably what it is. But how tall is he? That's the other question. He looks like he's about small. 5'6". Is he?
I mean, he's pretty tiny. It seems.
Yeah.
I mean,
he looks really, really small. I mean, well, again, he's going up again.
He's
I
a
mean, he's
small
supposed to be a
frame.
teenager. Yeah, he's well, and Robert Downey Jr.
He's
was
very
like,
young still too.
was he like 22,
Is he?
something like that?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's 22 now.
Yeah,
Tom might surprise. You
he
never know.
might. Yeah, I mean, he's a good actor. I've heard that Cherry's really good. That
Mhm.
newer movie he's part of, and there was another one that came out a couple months ago that he did. Which I can't remember the name of that. I've heard it's pretty good. I have nothing
Oh yeah, I
against
think
his
that's on
acting.
Netflix.
Yeah,
It's like a horror movie.
is it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not too worried about that movie though. The Nathan Drake Uncharted movie all that much. We'll see. Because isn't uh Daisy Ridley in that too?
Yeah. Oh wait, no, it's in the other movie you just
But she's
mentioned.
in the other movie. Okay, so
Yeah.
I know she's in a movie with him.
Yeah. So that's the
I'm
movie
not a
that
big
you just
fan of
mentioned.
hers,
I can't
but
remember the name of it.
yeah. I guess we'll see. We'll wait and see. We're gonna have to see that one whenever it comes. Does that come out this year?
I think so.
I don't know.
I'm Ron Burgundy.
My brain's fried from all the Snyder stuff today.
I know. I rolled out of bed, made some coffee, sat down, and watched it, and I've just been like buzzing ever since.
He's 24. He was born 3 days before me. How's that make you feel? Yeah, I mean, last night I it was like 11:30 here, and I'm like, it's gonna come on at 2. I should just go to bed, and I didn't. And I was like, I'm gonna wait and see and start watching it. I'm just gonna watch the beginning. And 3:30 comes around. I'm like, holy shit, I need to turn this off. Luckily, my power went out, and I was like, all right, fine, I'm gonna sleep now.
Did you start it from the beginning with your kids though?
What's that?
Did you restart it from the beginning with your kids?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, good.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm not gonna let them see my son. As soon as you could start like seeing things, I put a comic in his hand. So he's avid Star Wars fan. Like when he was 2, he could name everybody's lightsaber hilt. Like he knew who everybody was. I mean, I was training him from the beginning, and so like every time a Star Wars movie came out, uh, he hated The Last Jedi. And, anytime a Marvel movie comes out, anytime the DC movies come out, he's my movie buddy. Same thing with horror. Like he loves Jason. Oh, he told me to tell you hi, by the way.
Oh, tell him I said hello.
I will in the morning. He's in bed now.
All right.
But yeah, he's my movie buddy. He gets to see all this stuff, and he like today. I have to drop my daughter off before him for school. And there's 40 minutes in between the drop off. So we came back home. He's like, can we start watching the Snyder Cut a little bit? I'm like, yes, we can. And then so he gets in the car after I pick him up from school. He's like, I've been thinking about that all day. Can we go home and watch it? I'm like, yes, let's go home and watch it, please.
That's awesome.
I've been thinking about it all day too. Yeah. So he was thoroughly pleased with it. He was very happy with it. So yeah, I'm very happy. I'm very happy. I'm on cloud 9 right now. I just hope whatever Walter Hamada said about it being a what did I say? A creative cul-de-sac. I hope that's bullshit. I hope they somehow, in some form, resurrect Snyderverse. I've heard comic books and shit. I don't want that. I've heard animated movies. I want to see Ben Affleck. I want to see Cavill and Gal Gadot all together again. Ray Fisher. They were all great together. They got better and better throughout the movie.
Their chemistry was so much better than the previous films. I couldn't it's just still mind-blowing to think that thinking back to how much could the cut really change it? How much different footage is there? And then to realize that there was this much footage. It's beyond. I'm beyond. I'm just confused. I can't believe they saw that and thought that was bad.
Yeah, it's like DC or Warner. What were you guys looking at that made you think that this wasn't going to be a good movie? This could have been $1 billion movie. That's what they thought BVS was going to be. Came up short. Reviews were bad. If they would have released this, even at a 3-hour cut or something like that, I still think it would have been $1 billion movie. And I think it's going to change a lot of people's minds on this whole Snyderverse DC universe. I think a lot of people are going to come around and be like, yeah, I was wrong. I've already seen people say, yeah, I was wrong. This is good. This is really good. And you know what? Yeah, you were wrong. I believed in Zack Snyder from the beginning. I believe in Zack. I believe in Harvey Dent. I believe in Zack Snyder. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's amazing. I mean, I think that ever since I saw the opening of Watchmen, I've always been enamored with his films. Like, and I saw Watchmen when I was working for a commercial company and we were shooting, we were going to be shooting in a theater. And so we were going to scout the theater and they were like, oh, while you guys are waiting, do you want to go see like Watchmen? Like the people who were like working there, like, you can just go in and like watch it. And it was before, I think it was coming out that night. And I sat down and I watched through the opening like credits. And after I got through that, I was just like, this is like storytelling like I've never seen before. And I'm all for this epicness. And like, it was just so big, like the scope, the delivery. It was just something. It's, you know, if people want to talk shit about Zack Snyder, they're just missing out. They're missing out on some of like the most like brilliant cinema that's being created right now. I hope, like most things, when people look back on Generations, they give people more credit to do. I think in time, his legend is only going to continue to grow. I don't know what other films he has in his tank, but I mean, obviously, Army of the Dead. Is that related to Day of the Dead at all?
Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn of the Dead, I mean?
I think like ever so slightly. At the same time, I hope it really is because I love Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah, I think it'd be kind of amazing for him to do a sequel to that. If it is, I mean, I can't imagine that like you don't have to jump through too many hoops to connect those two worlds. You know what I mean?
No, I don't think so. I mean, there's zombies. I mean, you could just shout out to the mall or something, you know, like
fly by it or something.
Yeah, Nate, I agree with you, man. I have no idea why anybody would not like the Watchmen movie. I don't get it. It's very similar to the book to a point. You know, there's certain things. I mean, they do so much like the book. God damn it, I can't think of what's his name. Alan Moore's Watchmen. You know, but they put it on screen. They made it more. Plus, the cast is fantastic. Patrick Wilson as Night Owl is so good. Jeffrey Dean Morgan as the comedian. You know, I mean, fuck. By the way, the other thing that bothers me about not getting Ben Affleck Batman movie is Zack Snyder was going to cast Carla Gugino, I think is how you say her name. She played Sally Jupiter in Watchmen. You know, she was in that. You know what I'm talking about? She was fucking parole officer in Sin City. God, I love her. And as Selena Kyle, get the fuck out of here. I want that.
Oh
God, I want that so bad. I mean, she played Kellix in Man of Steel, but that was just the voice. Let's make her fucking Catwoman, please.
Yes,
that'd be a dream come true. I saw her at Horror Hound 2 years ago. You were there. I don't know if you saw her or not, but I was my jaw was on the fucking floor seeing her in person. God.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I mean, I always appreciate when somebody can truncate or just shift a little bit because things. Listen, I love comics, but as a movie first person, I will totally walk out and take a bullet for this comment, which is I feel like comics really skirt around things all the time. And sometimes the logic doesn't make sense. And sometimes they just do things like almost like with WandaVision, like there was like the whole Mephisto thing and kind of some things that they like. When you open up that can of worms in film, you can't blast it out into 12 different comic things. Like you got to kind of have something that goes through. So to like cut that off of this thing,
carte blanche, you can do almost anything you want, you know?
Yeah. And it's like, yeah, there's a lot of like, oh, but now it's changed. And I don't have to like create a film that does it. I just have to draw 3 panels that like all of a sudden goes, now this is different. Yeah. And like by the end of a page, you can like completely change some things. And I feel like in film, you're not allowed that flexibility. And so you have to be very selective in how much you put into a film. You can only throw so many threads before it gets too overwhelming, or you end up with 4-hour cuts. You know, but this is what happens. This is what it takes to weave all that stuff together properly. And sometimes that's just what it requires. And I really hate, you know, I can see some people don't want to sit through a 4-hour movie. They don't want to dedicate 4 hours to a movie. Makes sense. You know, it is a big commitment.
With this, it's brilliant though. They have chapter breaks.
They have chapter breaks. You can watch it in pieces. Brilliant. You can binge it. You can do it. But I mean, we binge series all the time. I mean, how many 1-hour episodes do we chew through of Dexter?
Think about Stranger Things. How many people watch Stranger Things in a day?
A day.
Yeah, you know, in a day. Orange is the New Black is another one I probably could get through in a day. I love that show. You know,
but obviously this is theatrical, so it's different because it goes. This was a war over theatrical at the time. So, but again, I think that like COVID has made everyone rethink streaming. COVID has made everyone rethink the release schedules and how things get done. Funny enough, this isn't a debate that like really originates now. It actually goes all the way back to It Follows, because It Follows is one of the first movies that kind of came out as like a thing where like streaming and theatrical were really close. It was supposed to come out on streaming and it went to theatrical, and they were able to kind of like move it into theatrical more because it caught fire and delay VOD, but it almost happened that it came out at the same time. And it still maintained its popularity because no matter what, even if it's available, like movie people will go to the theater. And if you're not going to fill as big a stadium to thing, just make smaller theaters with more of a Alamo Drafthouse style experience. And then it becomes a date night. You know, I exclusively go to the Alamo Drafthouse in LA now because, I guess I haven't been since then, but ever since they built it, like, because that's the experience. I mean, I don't mind paying that much to go in there and get that great food.
And even so, I mean, the theaters here now are, they got the reclining seats, they bring you the food and stuff. But the let me tell you, if I had the choice, if they were going to release Justice League, if this was 2019 and no pandemic, or 2021, no pandemic, and they were going to release Justice League streaming and theatrical, you bet your ass I'm in the theater watching that. Because there's nothing, and we talk about this at the Horror Syndicate constantly. There's nothing like it's an event. What happened?
Nate's comment. Fans want 50 years of comics to fit into a 2-hour film adaptation.
That's true.
Brilliant.
That's 100% true. Although in 2007 or 8, I came up with my own DCU and planned it out based on old old comic books. I always got Star Wars on the brain for some reason, but old comic books and how many movies it would take, and it was like 27 movies or some shit like that. But anyway, to get to a Justice League movie. But what was I saying? Anyway, I'm a theatrical person. I can't wait to get back to the theater. If I have the opportunity, I feel bad in a way. When Endgame came out, I got the tickets for Endgame were damn near impossible to get, and I stumbled on some for like a 1:00 showing. You know what I did? Took my kids out of school to go see Endgame. It's like, fuck school, we're gonna go see Endgame because it was an event, and it's and there's a lot of, like, a Friday the 13th comes back to the theater. That's an event. You know, there's nothing like it, and I hate streaming, honestly, but at the same time, I don't hate it.
Yeah, so. I mean, I saw Endgame. I was lucky enough to I was on a show. I was actually working on a documentary on the crew, and we were in upstate California, and we were on location. So I was staying at a hotel, and there was a theater down the street. As soon as we wrapped, like during the day, I bought my ticket. And I just got my one seat, and because we were kind of in the middle of nowhere, I got a seat in this theater to go see Endgame. So it was kind of a cool experience for that. So I don't know, Godzilla versus Kong is coming out in 2 weeks. I haven't been to a theater since The Hunt last year. Wow. So theaters are opening back up in LA, and so I have to really kind of think about, or I actually might be up north with the Jason Rising guys. I might be taking some time off to go help them film a few scenes up in Portland. Frankly enough, last time I saw a movie, I was in Portland with Carl Winnery from Jason Rising. We went to go see The Hunt together right before everything got locked down, and I flew back to LA the next day. And so I might be in Portland for my first movie since then too. So it'd be kind of cool.
Funny that was The Hunt, because I went. It was a Friday. I have Fridays off, no kids. Kids are at school. So Friday morning, I was like, I could see The Hunt, or I could see Invisible Man. I went and saw Invisible Man. That was the last movie I saw, which I liked. It was really good. The Hunt was awesome too, though. I didn't get to see that till this year, but yeah. I know Missouri. I live right on the border of Missouri and Illinois. They're taking, I think, their mask mandate, which I hate. It's out of effect on April 1st, but they're opening theaters back up, and there's theaters that are closed. And from what I hear, the way they're doing it, it's pretty safe. I mean, they're opening Busch Stadium back up.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so I mean, we're getting there at some point. I really miss the theater. Man, that was the biggest thing. Anytime I didn't have the kids and I didn't have any plans, I was off to the damn theater, to go see a movie. We talked about Dr. Sleep, but not too long ago, Nate and I went and saw Zombieland. Didn't have the kids that night, so I saw Zombieland, and then I saw that Dr. Sleep was playing. I was like, fuck, double feature. I love the movies. I love going to we call them the movies here in the Midwest.
Yeah. That's what we call them in the Northeast too. I mean, going to the movies. But yeah, I mean, so even after I've seen this film, Snyder Cut, if it's going to be in the theater, I'm going.
Oh, me too.
I got to
Absolutely.
experience this in IMAX.
Yeah.
And okay, let's talk about 4:3. Did it bother you?
For about a half an hour, and then
It didn't bother me at all.
Well, it's jarring. Like these TVs are made for widescreen. You know they are, and seeing the black bars, it takes me back to whenever widescreen TVs came out, and I still had full screen DVDs. I'm like, oh, and so I'm watching. I'm like, this is bothering me. But I got by the time I got to Themyscira and the Amazon, that was fine. I didn't notice it anymore. So yeah, it's annoying, but
I thought it was I thought that was, I was like, this is going to take away from it.
I love the drive-in.
Yep, I would love to go to a drive-in. I haven't been to a drive-in in a long time.
Drive-in over here is opening back up in April. Skyview. Cool.
Yeah. But yeah, it really didn't bother me. And I've kind of I've shot, I did shoot one thing in 4:3, like a little short film a couple of years ago. So I kind of had to study the aesthetic of it. And so it was cool to see, obviously a master of the cinema working with that aspect ratio and the way he did it. But I mean, composition wise, he used the frame well. Yeah, I mean, that's why it worked, because the 4:3 frame and format was shot well and it looked really good. So I understand why it was shot that way and why he didn't want to go to the 2.35 or ultra wide.
Nolan is able to shoot IMAX with the full screen, which I really like, because I know you can tell when in The Dark Knight, for instance, when it goes from IMAX to whatever the other one is, because it has the black bars at the top and the bottom when it's not IMAX, and then you can see mostly the outdoor scenes, oddly enough, are IMAX. And so I was like, why can't they do that? So I'm curious, and I think that because it is getting released physically, and I'm curious to see how many people get it. I already know people said they're getting it. Like Seth from the Horror Syndicate said he's getting it regardless of whether or not he likes it. Which I'm sure he is going to like it. He's probably nearly the end of it right now, actually. But I kind of hope that they have a 16:9 or whatever edition on there, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be the IMAX.
No, I bet you there's an aspect ratio change that
I heard they're going to also include a black and white version.
Oh,
yeah, because Zack Snyder, that's all he had to live with for the last 4 years was his black and white version before the color correction, all that. Yeah, so that would be they're releasing on 4K, I think, in May. I'm there. I'm getting it. And Keith, I know you're watching. That's going to probably be my first 4K. I haven't bought a 4K yet. So probably
I haven't bought any 4K either. I don't even think I have a 4K TV.
I just bought a 4K TV right before the Super Bowl. My TV went out. It was starting to show these black spots, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? Had the TV for 7 or 8 years, and I went and bought one 4K, and I'm like, okay, I guess I need to get a 4K player too at some point. So now that if I get Justice League on 4K, which I will, I'm going to have to get the 4K player.
Cool.
And of course,
it might be time. It might be time for me to.
It is time. I mean, I got the TV, might as well get the player. Then I could start watching some, I think, some foreign films, foreign releases, Region B stuff. I think. I don't know how that works. I don't know. But are you ever going to release Never Hike Alone in 4K? Is that even a possibility?
I could do Never Hike in the Snow.
Yeah.
Never Hike Alone. I'd have to go back in and get a re-export of it, but we could. Correct. I'm wrong. I have a 4K version of Never Hike Alone.
You do?
I do, and I've played it before. It's ridiculous. It's actually I played it once. I played it at Nightmares Film Festival. I got to stream my 4K version of Never Hike Alone. It was crisp. It was a lot of the things that there's little things, you know what I mean, that you lose. Oh my God, it was beautiful to see everything really realized. Some of the lighting that kind of it's good, but in 4K you're like, that's what we shot. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. It would have to be for us affordable for people. Yeah. You know what I mean? We have to turn around and make it affordable.
I can't imagine the cost. I mean,
I don't know. It might not be that bad.
How much is it? Is it expensive to get Blu-rays printed out?
It depends. It depends on how many you get. You know what I mean? Yeah, if you order, probably between $4 or $5 a piece.
That's not terrible at all,
But
really.
but it comes down, it's like it's $4 or $5 for just the Blu-ray and the disc and all that stuff. But then like what starts to add on top is like shipping. You got the casing, you
Right.
got the postaging, and then damages and things like that. So there's a little bit more that's like it goes beyond. So it probably gets between 7 and 8, maybe even 10, depending on what's going there. Like I know like the international shipping is a lot, and that ends up taking a lot of money, and we usually end up you lose $2 to $3, you know what I mean, like as it starts to go there. But you kind of just be like, how much can I really charge people for this? I get a guilt complex, and I'm like,
Because we need to
I'll eat
figure out
$2.
we need to figure out a way to get we're going to do the hashtag release the Milliner cut of Confession of Fred Krueger on
Wow.
Blu-ray. He's never going to do that, but well, he's got to release the On the Dark and Bloody Ground on Blu-ray, hopefully.
No, yeah.
Right, Nate? Yeah, I know you're still out
But
there.
I think doing home video campaigns because he's finished the movie, which is great. The hard thing really is the tough thing about like crowdfunding in movies are if you crowdfund to make a movie, like it's tough to then take that and then sometimes it's really hard to just run the campaign. When you've made the movie and you can just show it to people, like running those campaigns is much easier, I find. And the fulfillment process is much easier too, because it's very direct. It's very much, I know I'm buying a product, I'm turning it over, producing it, and then I'm giving it to the audience.
I mean, it's an easier sell when something's in the can.
Done.
Yeah, I mean, because like with my comics, it's the same deal. If I had the comic finished already, if I didn't need to pay for the rest of the art, it would fund a lot faster, a lot easier. I see campaigns fund very fast because they're done. And hopefully the next one, issue 3, will be closer to being done by the time we get to the campaign, which is going to launch on my birthday.
Well, I mean, that's why we want to do, with Never Hike Alone, we want to do the Ghost Cut release, because it's something that like we don't really have to invest too much to make changes to it. If we raise a lot of money, like maybe we do a couple $1,000s worth of post, like just to improve some pieces of it. But beyond that, like it's just putting it on disc and getting it out, which is like, there's a cost for those services, which are very affordable. There's a cost for the manufacturing, which is very affordable when you line up the fact that you're doing a crowdfund that gives you a head. And I think that that's definitely something that I've learned, that those are the crowdfunds I like running the most, because there's less at stake. It's not about like, am I going to get enough to make the movie? Am I going to get enough to do the scene I really, really want? It's just really about like, how many am I making? I think it's cool. But what's nice is that you make more money off of those. Like our first Never Hike Alone video campaign paid off the movie. Like all the debt that we accrued from the movie paid that off.
I remember that one killed.
Yeah. That was the first time we when we first started, we tried to raise $50,000 and we failed. And that one made $50,000.
Yeah.
We were struggling in Never Hike in the Snow to get that funded. And then as soon as I put Blu-rays available, we shot up and got up to $75,000. So I'm looking at that trend for us and saying like, oh yeah, like here we go. Like this is probably a better way to raise the money. Like it's better to be sitting on the cash and ahead of it than always chasing it and always like, or dead even with it. Like it's rather to be, you want to be as far ahead of it as possible, because, when you sit there and you go, you know what, we might want to break this out into 2 days rather than 1 day, or we'll kill our crew. It ends up working out, because then you get a shorter day, you're actually paying less for that day. And you end up getting a crew that's like in better shape. They're not sleeping 2 hours and then getting back to set and tired. Like how can you be an AC and only get 2 hours of sleep? Just trying to focus, you know what I mean? That's just not going to happen. So it's like, you got to be kind of smart about it. So with us, it's like in our next films, we're going to try and buy as many days as possible. We want to get everything kind of pre-funded with, like all the aesthetic, like all like the silicone and all the things we're going to do for all the kills, like get that done before we even shoot, like have it all molded, all that's all done. And then everything we make for the production is like for the physical production when we were out there, so do a pre-production campaign, a production campaign, and a post-production campaign. And then, when if there's anything left over, that's when you can kind of go, oh, let's do another home video. You know what I mean? Like our fan base expanded. We've raised another 500,000 views on something. So more people want it, more emails are coming in so we can do it. So
especially when you're getting a copy of the movie, people eat that shit up,
Yeah, that's what
If
they.
you're offering free, like not free stuff, but if you're offering something, and plus, can't do you have it set up where you can keep the store open on Indiegogo?
I do that. We closed our most recent one because that allows us to kind of final out the campaign, get the final things going. You can email us at wompstompfilms.com, wompstompfilms@gmail.com. If you want to get on the, on our exclusive mailing list. So like basically I think we're up to 2,200 sales right now, 2,200 to 2,300. So we have like about 200 discs left that we can pre-order. And those will probably be coming out in about 4 to 5 weeks. I'm hoping that it goes that fast.
Yeah. Nate, we were wondering if it was going to be on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
You're
going to get that home video.
Yeah.
Or, but I mean, I think with Nate, I'm not speaking for him, but I'm sure he'd want to show that to some distributors too. Get that on Shutter.
I've asked him about that a little bit. Not about the Shutter, but who he was thinking about going through a distro. Nate plays things close to the vest.
Yeah, I'm sure he has a plan for it.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's got that, but
he's going straight to Wild Eye, from what I understand. No. Anyway, back. Anything else we want to talk about with Snyder Cut?
A little early for that. Yeah. I mean, I think I've touched upon all my things.
Give me some final thoughts. Final thoughts on what we saw today.
Final thoughts. I mean, I'll just say it again. I think it was just this is a redemption story. They should make a movie about this. Like they should make a movie about the movie about this getting made. I don't think I've ever felt as like proud for a filmmaker. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense. Like,
it does. No, it totally does. Yeah.
Like I wish I could go give Zack Snyder a hug right now.
Yeah.
Like that's how I feel. I feel like, man, good for you. That's just how I feel. I feel like good for you. This isn't like, think about how bad this would have been if it was bad. You know what I mean? Yeah, I like they would have pounced all over him.
Dude, that was a huge fear of mine. Was it was going to be worse than the Whedon cut.
I think that's why people are angry, because they didn't get a chance to. Yeah. They were hoping this was going to be like, take out Zack Snyder
or eating crow today. I know there's a lot of YouTubers that were like, never going to happen, never going to happen. If it does, it's going to be bad. It's going to be really bad. All this different shit. I think they're eating crow today.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, there's a lot of people licking their wounds.
Yeah, lick them up. Lick him up. Yeah, this should continue. I agree. I mean, first of all, first thing I said after he played tribute to his daughter, which was lovely at the very end, which was again a total shame that happened. I feel for Snyder's whole family. Mm-hmm. But the first thing I said, I was like, thank you, Zach. Thank you so much for that. And then I went on Facebook, and normally when I see a movie, I go straight into it, how I felt about it. All I put up was Hail Snyder, because let me tell you something, I fucking love him as a filmmaker, and I have ever since I saw Dawn of the Dead. So I'm so happy that we got to see his vision and a little extra, because that last 10 minutes or so was not planned until now, and I'm so glad. And it is a redemption story for so many things. Batfleck in a way, because of what happened in the Justice League before. Snyder, Cyborg, and Ray Fisher, even Ezra Miller, as you mentioned earlier. Mm-hmm. And you know what? Jared Leto got a little bit of fucking redemption, in my opinion, because he was great in that little snippets. Like, more. I want more of that. Yeah. Batman and Joker talking to each other like back and forth. Fucking give me more.
I said, give me that Midnight Run movie. I want to see Midnight Run, Batman and Joker. I want that Buddy Road movie. Because that was hilarious. God. I think I need to go back and give Sucker Punch another watch.
Yeah, I used to. Nate just brought that up. I liked it when I first saw it, but I wasn't in the right mindset when I saw it to quite let it sink and grasp it. I only watched it the one time, so I do want to see it again. So I believe in Zack Snyder. Like I said, just like Harvey did, I believe in Zack Snyder. So now we got to see how Army of the Dead is when that comes out and when it hits Netflix.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Zack entering this next stage of his career. To see some of the projects he's going to come out with, because I feel like who he was when he made Dawn of the Dead and who he's become through all these films, and he really has been that guy through a lot of this stuff, but I feel like he's just like, this should take him to, I think, another level in a way that I think he should like if he's feeling that redemption, which I'm probably sure he did. I'm sure they all feel great today. They all feel like, I'm sure a lot of happy tears are being shed. That they take this momentum and then they go make more projects with it, and they use, they're hot now. Nobody wanted to touch Ray Fisher a couple weeks ago because of all the trouble that he was, but he was fighting for that performance, and he deserves a lot of credit, and he should get hired for a lot more stuff. And he should get his own Cyborg movie.
Yeah,
I love the faceplate, which I didn't think was in the original film or the Whedon cut.
I don't think it was.
Because that was fucking badass.
I've got a whole head. My son was, whoa, he can do that. I was like, I guess. I've never seen him do that before.
I know. I was like, that's cool. The print eye. I was like, that's badass.
Yeah, it was very cool. I mean,
great
Cyborg,
design.
We didn't even talk about that when he's learning his powers and he's like kind of floating around. That was so fucking cool. And then, oh man, that part when he gave that woman the prize of $100,000 because
I was crying,
broke my heart. I was like, God bless that dude.
I saw that in
Doomsday. I mean, people like shriek. They're like, look at the, they got away from him because he was different. It's like he did something great for this lady, but these people just look at him as a freak because they see anyway.
I think they did something similar in Doom Patrol.
I only watched the first season of Doom Patrol.
I think because I remember in Doom Patrol they have his dad make a comment. He's like, "You're still." Oh no, it wasn't Doom Patrol that he gave a woman cash. It was that somebody robbed somebody at an ATM and then he stops the robbery and his dad gives him kind of crap for it. He was like, "Is that all you're doing with your powers? You can."
Yeah, that was early on too. I think. Doom Patrol, that guy's pretty good too, but he's not. He didn't. Ray Fisher, man, he's
but that's the thing. It's like Doom Patrol is that tone. You know what I mean? Like he fits the tone of Doom Patrol, and Zack Snyder's Justice League epicness. He brings the seriousness. Like everybody brings that seriousness. I can't believe the comedy works too. What?
He said, "Fuck the world."
Fuck the world. Yeah. It was like, whew. I was like, he's pissed.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
Yeah, I mean, that was heartbreaking. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think there's so many redemptive stories in this. I mean, is Lois pregnant?
I know they showed that.
Did you see the pregnancy test?
I did see the pregnancy test. I think it was like what she was hoping for.
Well, I heard rumors that she's pregnant in the second movie, and Darkseid kills her with his Omega beams. And that's who Superman's holding when Darkseid puts his hand on his shoulder is Lois, and that's how he turns because she was pregnant.
Yeah, no, I know that was like.
Yeah. Oh. Give us more. I have a whole.
I don't know if I could. I don't know if I could like survive Lois dying like that.
Well, I mean, it leads to them going back and fixing things to where Batman sacrifices himself, I think they say, and Lois lives, and then Superman doesn't turn. I think that's how the last movie's supposed to end.
Oh,
something along those lines. And you know what?
What is it about Lois's death that that allows Darkseid to control Superman at that point?
Yeah, that's what happened. The death of Lois is what.
Well, I mean, if he killed him, why would he be like, "Well, I'll be on your side now," or like he's just like, "I can't beat you"?
I guess I'm not sure exactly. I'd have to read more into that because it's Snyder's. It's not really the comics at all because the comics, I don't think he would go be Darkseid's pawn after that.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, there's got to be something they've done to him or something. But. Yeah, no, that's a scary situation.
Well, the very end of the movie was a scary situation. They're all getting ready to go, and then Cyborg's like, he's here, and he drops in, and his eyes glow. It's like, fuck, man. God, what's happening next?
Yeah, how are they going to get out of that?
And then Bruce wakes up.
Yeah. Like, and then he has a chat with Martian Manhunter. In that house that I would love to live in.
You know what was really cool, though? When they pan back, and you see the house, getting further away, and Martian Manhunter's flying around in a circle, and you can see how far Gotham is from his house, which I thought that was kind of cool. Mm-hmm. That's something I always wonder is how far away from Gotham is he?
Yeah, he's got a long trip into work.
Yeah, he's got a long commute. But now I got a whole list of things I want to see, and it's so bad that I have this list because a lot of it probably won't have like a Cyborg movie, the Batman series or movie, another Justice League movie, Henry Cavill back as Superman. I mean, I don't give a shit how many Superman there are. I want to see him as Superman again because I know they're going to do another Black Superman um, with J.J. Abrams,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't remember the other guy's
Are they
name.
doing that character? I can't remember who is that. That's like his.
I'm not sure. There's two different characters that people are throwing names out. Val Zod, which
Yeah,
is
Valzad is I think
yeah,
the
that's
one
the
that
one.
I.
And the other one is Calvin Ellis, who was
Mhm.
actually from Earth 23, and he was the president also and Superman.
Hmm.
So yeah, which is a cool book. He's from Earth 23, which is a shout out to Michael Jordan. So
Oh,
yeah, pretty cool stuff. That was from
that's cool.
a book called Multiversity, I think,
Hmm.
something like that. They did something back in 20
Is that like DC's What If?
kind of. Well, they did the New 52 in 2011, and that
Yep,
didn't
yep, yep.
work out. So they did something called Convergence, where they took all the multiverse and converged it into one, which was
Mhm.
Rebirth. And that was one of the Supermen was Calvin, and there was a Black Wonder Woman, and it's like all the Justice League members were just the black versions of themselves, but they weren't actually because it wasn't Kal-El; it was a different Kryptonian.
Hmm.
So interesting stuff. I look. I just want more and more DC. I want 23 DC films. We've gotten 22, 23 Marvel movies,
Mhm.
23 DC films, and all the Batman you can give me.
Yeah, and I think the key word is get out of Zach's way.
Yeah, yeah. Get the fuck out of the way.
Just let him go make money for you. Like he's got his fan base. Just let him feed that fan base, and
And
they're
I
gonna.
have barely seen if the two big negatives I've seen. It's too long, which I don't think it is because that flew by. Am I wrong in saying that flew by? And then the other thing is his use of slow mo. Get over it.
It's cool.
Go watch The Mummy Returns if you think there's too much slow mo in this movie.
They're the people who watch YouTube videos with 1.5 speed.
People do that
Yeah.
just to get through them.
Yep.
Maybe I should start doing that because I do follow a couple of good YouTubers, like a guy Heavy Spoilers. He's one of the guys championing the Snyder Cut, and then what was the other guy? They're from Mr. Sunday Movies. Those are my two favorite YouTubers. If you ever get a chance, they're hilarious.
Cool.
Yeah. So one of them's from Australia, the other one from England. But anyway, yeah,
that's a good accent fest.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, dude, I gotta tell you, I've been single for a few years now. I'm really like every time I hear a foreign accent on a woman, I'm melting. I'm like, I need to date you or something. It's like
I dated. Just read me the phone book.
Well, I dated a girl from Germany when I was like 20, 21. And boy, she was just her accent alone, like talking to her phone. It was like the sexiest thing in the world, So anyway, that's too much.
I digress.
Yeah, I'm just really happy right now. I'm on cloud nine.
Yeah.
I'm very happy with what's going down. I hate that I'm so selfish and greedy, but I want more.
Me too.
It doesn't feel like 4 hours. Yeah. And I can't wait to watch this again, which I plan on doing. I did get a request from Reynolds to watch Aquaman tomorrow, so we're gonna watch Aquaman again. But I also don't have the kids; they'll be in school for 4 hours, so I'll watch it tomorrow by myself without having to hear my daughter. Who's that? What's that? What's this? But also Falcon and Winter Soldier premieres tonight.
Tomorrow, right?
At 2, but yeah, tomorrow. So that's a whole nother can of worms. I'm a Captain America guy also. And something interesting I found out, and I don't know if this is true, is they're saying that you can follow the Marvel movies without having to watch these shows, and they're doing the lesser known characters in the shows like Falcon and Winter Soldier. So like he hands off the shield to Sam at the end of Endgame, and like he gets it taken away during Falcon and Winter Soldier. That's obvious because of the trailers. And so they're saying it seems like he's going to have the shield by the end of the show. So because by the next movie he'll have the shield. I don't know. I don't care. I want to see it.
I'm interested to see these characters kind of. WandaVision taught me that there is power in these characters. You know what I mean? I was kind of like, what is it really like? What is left of this world? You know what I mean? Like. Now we're playing with the table scraps of superheroes, but obviously like X-Men got, the mutants got announced. And so that's something to really look forward to. Fantastic Four looks like it's on the cusp, but I was just impressed by the fact that like, I really was like drawn into Wanda and Vision. I really want to know where White Vision went. Did you see the meme of White Vision walking around the museum like Bucky?
Oh,
He had the hat and the jacket on.
Good, yeah. I got to tell you, I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and Mandalorian coming up every Friday, I'm excited about, right? But for some reason, WandaVision, I was way more intrigued with what was coming up next. I couldn't wait till Friday for that show. And before the show started, I didn't really care. I was like, this is going to be okay. It's going to get weird, but whatever. But by the end, I'm so invested in Wanda, so invested in Vision. And even though I knew that it was Agatha Harkness, I love Catherine Hahn. And
she was very funny.
She's excellent. She's underrated and excellent. So
I'm glad that she's still kind of around too, right? So she's going to be a part.
She put her under a spell, so she's around. I think eventually Wanda's going to go back to her and use her, because in the comics, Agatha. I do know a lot about Marvel too. I've read a lot of Marvel comics growing up, but Agatha trained Wanda in a lot of ways with magic, because she didn't know she was a witch for a long time, just like it now. Totally had no big just like I said. Yeah, Marvel Studios knows what they're doing, man. So yeah, look forward to Falcon and the Winter Soldier tomorrow. Either tomorrow or Saturday, I'm gonna have Comics Breakdown is gonna sit down and talk the Snyder cut with me, and maybe Seth. And I can't get enough. Seriously, I know somebody who's already watched it 4 times. I'm like, have you slept?
Has it been out that long? Can you watch it?
Have you slept? That's my question. It's like,
hasn't been
on his 4th time. I mean, there's a person who messaged me earlier. He's like, I'm on my 4th time. I'm like, have you fucking slept?
I know, right? Wow.
So, yeah, I mean, I got to see the first hour and a half twice. But I'm going to watch it again before I do this next video chat. And hopefully, I want to do like a breakdown of the Marvel shows too as they come out, because I love this shit. This is my stuff. You think I like horror? I'm a comics guy.
Well, those worlds collide.
Yeah, scrolls are here. I'm hoping that Captain America was a scroll.
Ooh.
Yeah, read. I think it's called Secret Invasion.
Oh yeah.
Dude, a ship crash lands back on Genosha, I think, and all these superheroes come out, and it shows that Spider-Woman and Captain America and Tony Stark were all Skrulls for the last 20 years, and it blew everybody's minds. So that was okay. That it was crazy. So all these old versions of Captain America and Tony Stark came. It was so cool. I hope they do something like that, because they're bringing back Chris Evans. So
yeah, that's going to be interesting. I wonder if it's for flashbacks or if he's going to play Old Man Evans and just kind of be around.
In the comics, they gave him a serum to go de-age him, so they could de-age him somehow. I don't know. We'll see.
That feels silly.
U.S. agent, Captain America versus U.S. agent would be really fun.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, I get off topic way too easily. So thanks for coming on, man. Thanks for
thanks for having me. Thanks. I needed someone to talk about this movie with.
God, yeah, that's the thing I miss about going to see the movies with my buddies. We fucking go to Denny's and talk about what we just saw. Try to unload
Oh man, if this was at Denny's right now, this would be perfect.
Are you kidding me? That's something I told my buddy Todd a long time ago. I want to film a show where we sit around a diner and talk about what we just saw, kind of like that Comedians Getting Coffee, the Jerry Seinfeld thing. I want to do that, but talk geek stuff, or horror maybe even.
Yeah, you can rent out a booth and just get the camera set up and set up a squad and just go.
I want to do it at Waffle House.
There you go. Fine. I mean, hey, maybe there's a restaurant somewhere around that will be like, hey, every week we'll pay you this much, and we'll pay for.
I know people around here.
They're
my people. They know me. One guy I used to coach my son's baseball team, and this coach kept looking at me. I was coaching over at first base, and this coach was on the other side, kept looking at me. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? He kept looking at me. And then finally, when the game was over, we won and everything, and we were a good game. He stops me. He's like, hey man, are you the Horror Syndicate guy? I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, I follow you guys. I watch your podcasts. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, I didn't know you lived around here. I was like, yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, I was like, can I get a t-shirt? I'm like, no, you got to buy one. Anyway, and thanks again for coming on. It was a lot of fun, man. I really, really like talking. We got to get you back on the Horror Syndicate show so you and Nate can talk the whole show.
Yeah, right. We can just nerd out the entire. I mean, we basically did here. He's going back and forth.
What are you doing right now? Because we got. Hold on.
I feel like we could have just sucked him up into the thing.
This is absolute truth right here. It is a great time to be a comic fan.
It is. This is like the slasher boom for comics.
Nate, we'd still be waiting for our drinks at Denny's. The Denny's here rocks. I'm telling you right now, it rocked. Before the pandemic, it was good. Kevin Feige today or yesterday said Evans is not coming back as Cap.
It's coming back as Human Torch.
Jesus. Could you imagine? We need to talk about the time traveling Joker theory sometime. There's also a theory of 3 Jokers, which was a comic.
Oh, yeah.
And this just one person recognized me. Okay, fine. Somebody came to the comic book shop on Free Comic Book Day just to see me because of the horror syndicate once.
Yeah, all right. See, flex it.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong.
No, it's embarrassing. Like I'm just, like somebody on Facebook. Actually, I think it was it Luke said something about I'm glad or I'm happy that I even know who you are or something like that. I'm like, why?
Aww.
I because I made a comic or because I do the horror syndicate. I'm just a fucking turd over here, you know.
A turd.
Yeah, I'm nothing special.
No, I mean, I think that like anytime anybody takes that risk to get out in front of people and talk about stuff and carry the social narrative, it's an important thing. I mean, commentary is not everyone's forte, and when you do it well and you can get people to watch you, I think it's worth it. I think people like your take, and I know I enjoy the Horror Syndicate. I like being on with you guys. You guys have interesting takes, and you're really passionate about the thing. I think that when you express passion for something that other people share and they don't have that opportunity to talk about it, or they'd rather listen than be a part of the conversation. It's a skill. So I mean, just accept it. I mean, same thing with Never Hike Alone. I always go like, But,
well, I mean, people come up to the booth at the horror conventions, and if I'm there, they walk away because you just can't stop talking. But next time you come on, pick a movie. Like we did this with Roman and Tyler from the Scream Queen documentary. They picked Hereditary, I think, or they came on for that show. Pick a movie and we'll talk about that movie, whatever movie you want. And we'll talk about it. That's what we've been doing is we're like really, Nate loves dissecting movies. He's a filmmaker.
Dude.
He just loves dissecting films, and that's what we kind of been doing, like getting into the nitty gritty. And Nate really gets down and dirty. And you pick something, and you come on and hang out with us and talk about, I don't know, whatever. As long as we haven't talked about it,
yeah, totally. I mean, I'd love to do that. I mean, I've actually been thinking about with Womp Stomp, with the growing subscribership that we have. Like, it's probably about time that I start doing some more like one-on-one content, because I do so many other people's podcasts. I don't do anything on my own channel. But I'm thinking about like kind of doing like what Nate's talking about. Like I would love to sit down and dissect a film and talk about it and talk about some like go beyond like the entertainment thing. It's like, let's talk about how this film was made. Let's talk about like this scene. Like why is this scene successful? What type of scene is this? Like, why is it successful and how you can achieve it with no money? You know what I mean? Like, I think that'd be a cool little breakdown of like how we're able to kind of recreate some things for a fraction of the cost.
Get monetized and start making money.
And then I can monetize that, which is kind of nice.
That'd be really cool.
I also want to do a bunch of like Friday the 13th theories. Like I have my theories about Friday the 13th. I would love to do videos.
Have you ever watched Star Wars Theory? There's a guy, he's got like 3 million subscribers. He's a good guy too. I mean, you could do that. I mean, and you can have me come on and talk about that stuff. I'm just saying, I know Friday the 13th pretty well. I mean, that and Elm Street. Yeah, he's right though. You are made for podcast. You're between your personality and knowledgeable and being able to talk. Like some people can't even talk, about stuff.
Cool.
Need to send you away with new eyes or info. What?
I don't quite understand yet either.
Nate's been sipping on the grandma's peach tea.
Man, I was just sitting back and firing from the hip.
Seriously, man. I want to have you back on the Horror Syndicate.
2 weeks, Godzilla versus Kong. Let's talk about it. You're Kong, I'm Godzilla. We're gonna see who comes out.
Do you like Skull Island?
Parts of it.
Parts of it. That movie was badass.
There's parts of it. There's just I find it also suffers from Marvelism, which is not every scene has to be a joke.
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
But the thing I like about that movie are the creatures, like the stick spider creature, and then the the skull. I don't remember what they were called, but okay. So do you like Peter
Right.
Jackson's King Kong better or the Skull Island?
Um,
Do you remember Peter
oh yeah, no.
Jackson?
In fact, I watched the Peter Jackson one, like, and now I know what Nathan's talking about. He's saying like if I do that video, like what they didn't they like when you watch it on the surface, something they didn't know before. Yeah, you definitely got to get under and be like, here's something like with a really trained eye, understand this is how they achieve
That's
something.
something
Which is
Nate's
that's what
very
I'm.
good at. He's very good
Yeah.
at that.
Well, that's what. Yeah. So
Yeah.
we go back and forth on it. But what was I saying? Oh, you know which one? I'll tell you which one. The 76 Dino De Laurentiis movie. How about that?
With
That's the
Bridget,
best one of the three.
with Bridget?
Yeah, I had King Kong Lives on. I love those. That's what I grew up with. That's the King Kong I grew up with. And I
Yeah.
loved that King Kong. I love the man in
Me
suit
too.
Kong.
Yeah, me too.
I like, there's parts of Skull Island that I like. It's very cinematic. It's got some stuff. I just felt that like there was something about the relationship with the crew that it didn't feel. I didn't feel a camaraderie. I felt like a lot of it was forced. I felt like a lot of people were trying really hard at comedy, like almost the way like I love the 2014 Godzilla like a lot, but I find Bryan Cranston in that movie to be he's like kind of like on a. I think that was the year that they finished Breaking Bad, so he was
Yeah.
kind of on a high of like I am a great actor, and he
Yeah.
like acted the
Yeah,
shit out of
yeah.
every scene, and it was like you need to. Brian, you need to get back into a normal tone because
Yeah.
you're too much.
Hey, please be Lex Luthor. Anyway.
Yeah, like kind of like that. It's the difference. I think it was there. I think Skull Island grew on me. I watched it a second time and go, all right, this isn't as bad as I thought it was the first time.
Yeah.
But so it's there. But I would say that it's good. I would probably like that over Peter Jackson's. Although I'm watching Peter Jackson's again, and I'm starting to get. Now I'm starting to get like when I watched Peter Jackson's original film, originally when I watched it, I didn't know what Heart of Darkness was. Now that I'm watching it after knowing about Heart of Darkness and reading Heart of Darkness, I understand what he was going for and how I missed it. And so it's giving me a thing, but I'm also seeing like I think I was watching it last night as I was going to bed and I turned it off during the Brontosaurus chase, which the Brontosaurus and Velociraptors. And at that moment I went, you know what? This feels like we need to make it like Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
And I went, you could have cut this entire scene out of the movie and moved on to your next section and you would have been fine.
There are some fun moments though that I like the scene where they fall down in that pit and all these creepy crawlies come out. The one grabs on Andy Serkis's leg and I don't know, it's a fun movie. It's a little long for my taste. By the time they get to New York, you're almost not as interested as I was earlier in the movie. But yeah, I think the 76 movie is that's fucking chef's kiss.
Yeah,
it's great.
As vapid as what's her name in it is, like it's kind of funny how they just randomly find her floating.
Jessica
Lang.
Yeah.
They definitely make her very like I could see like audiences today being like she's such like a very weak female character. She's just fainting and doing like falling in for all the old tropes, but it's the Kong action, I think, really.
Yeah, I agree. But I was going to say, so that's one of the things I like about the King Kong in 06 or 05 or whatever it was, Peter Jackson's, was Naomi Watts' character was a similar character. I liked her quite a bit in that role. And then what's his name? Brody.
Adrian Brody.
Adrian Brody. I thought he was pretty fun, and I never thought of him as an action star before that. And he was really cool in that movie. So those are little things like that I liked about it. Yeah, let's do that. Let's see if we can get Nate. You want to come on and talk about King Kong and King Kong versus Godzilla?
Yeah, well, that's going to be epic. I got to talk
Yeah,
about that.
we got to have an epic stream for that one.
Yeah, I've been watching the Legendary verse and kind of getting caught up on there. Then that's why I went back and watched Skull Island to kind of get a feel for it. And obviously Godzilla and
I need to start doing that myself. I've been caught up in all the Snyder stuff, so all the DC
Jeff
stuff.
Bridges in that beard in 76. Yes, great. He looks great in that movie.
Oh yeah, Jeff Bridges always looks great.
Yeah, it's such a.
I think his best beard was Obadiah Stane, but yeah. Let's. What date is that? Is that
31st?
Oh shit, that's coming up. So that's on a Wednesday.
We'll just stay in touch.
It's on a way. They're releasing that on a Wednesday. Their release schedule's weird.
It was supposed to be on the 26th, and then they moved it.
No, we'll figure it out whenever Nate's got time. Nate,
definitely
let us know because we do our show on Tuesdays for the Horror Syndicate Discourse.
Yeah,
and I don't. Yeah, for me, I don't think King Kong and Godzilla really fit that show. and
We can do
also
whatever.
we'd miss
Well,
them.
I mean, they're on the cover of Fangoria, so they are horror. They're monsters.
They never they're but I need to shut up because they're in my horror collection. They're behind me right now. So
Yeah.
even the fucking Godzilla from Matthew Broderick. Godzilla's over here. Yeah. That was that was the first Godzilla I'd ever seen. I
All
won
right.
tickets off of some radio station. They're like, you and a date can go see Godzilla. I was 18. I took my girlfriend. I was like, yeah,
You
this
and a
is
date.
not good. And I've never seen a Godzilla movie before. So yeah, whatever. Or
Oh.
17th, I can't remember. But yeah, let's make a plan to do that. Do some reaction to Godzilla and Kong. Do you think we'll get a clear cut winner? Or do
They
you think
say they will. They say we will.
Adam Wingard, man?
I'm nervous. I'm nervous because I know the storylines they try to build. It doesn't matter what reality is between these two fictional creatures. It's whatever the filmmakers they. I mean, it could be a wild card. You know what I mean? And Batman beats Superman, so I'm just like, I just don't want to see Godzilla die. That's it.
There's Mecha Godzilla.
Yeah, but who? I mean, Mecha Godzilla's got to die.
That's probably the one that's
they were so bad at keeping that secret.
Clear cut winners be Kong and Godzilla beating Mecha Godzilla. That's what.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I just know. I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, we'll find out on the 3rd.
It's going to be interesting.
It's going to be fun. I'm really excited about that. And like you said, Mortal Kombat's like right on the tails of that. And then, man, what a time to be alive. Really.
This is a great, I mean, all the good content that got delayed last year that's going to fall into this year is going to be a very crowded year for content. We're going to get very spoiled after this is the year of delayed gratification.
Yeah. I mean, look at Marvel. Marvel's got the Shang-Chi movie coming out, Black Widow, not Eternals. Is it Eternals?
Eternals are the end of the year.
Yeah. And then Spider-Man is coming out this year.
Yep.
And then they have Loki, the WandaVision happened, and Captain America and the Winter Soldier. What If? And I think Hawkeye's coming at the end of the year too. So yeah, I mean, we're gonna sensory overload by the end of the year, and then we're gonna be back down to 2 or 3 movies a year going into next year.
And then hopefully we'll be working on. We'll be funded enough to do Never Hike Alone in 2022.
Can I get a cameo? I'm gonna come out to California.
If we can film the whole movie, if I can do the whole feature and just kind of get it done, then yeah, I have people that need to do scenes with.
If I'm, I've got a friend who lives. She works out of UC Berkeley. I'm gonna go visit. I was gonna go visit her last year, but I told her I'm gonna wait till next year now. So I'm gonna come out your way, and you and I are gonna go to Alamo Drive.
Work at the hospital.
I
need hospital extras, and I need some party extras. Spoiler
obviously
alert.
Not
There's a hospital and a party scene in the new movies.
Can I play a corpse?
Yeah, you can be in the morgue.
Yeah.
You can be one of the cops. You can be a security guard. There's lots of cool people who get
lots of extras, no liners.
We'll talk about it.
I can act. I'm telling you, Nate almost put me in his movie. He didn't know that. Put me in his movie. Anyway, all right. Let's kill this. We've been going for 2 hours. It's been fun though, man. I appreciate you coming out and
of course
and sharing on the Womp Stomp or the Never Hike Alone page. Hopefully, we got some subs that way.
Yeah, no, hopefully. I mean, back and forth. I'll definitely send some people this way to do it. I do want to mention before I go, also partnering up with the guys at Jason Rising, as I mentioned before. They have an Indiegogo open right now that I'd like people to check out and support. Their original goal was $25,000 to boost their funding from what they raised, I think, like a year and a half ago. They reached $6,000 by the end of their campaign, which is kind of a bummer, but they're up to $12,000 right now. And recently they got a surge because we started kind of remarketing. Definitely check this one out. I think people have been sleeping on this film a little bit. It's been taking a little bit to get done because of COVID, but we're coming out of it. It looks like we're going to film the last kind of 3 sections of weekends to finish the movie. They're hoping to come out by June. They have Blu-rays and stuff like that. Yeah, so they're aiming for Friday the 13th in June. And yeah, I'm a co-producer on it. I'm a co-writer on it. So I helped shape the script. I came up with some of the story and some of the connectivity. Like they had a lot of the material there, and I kind of came in and helped them be like, you know what, you could kind of get some of these things in here. And we worked on it and came up with some new bits and stuff like that. So I'm really excited for it. It's for fans of Part 4, Jason. So Never Hike Alone is very much in its own universe. What I like working with these guys is the fact that we're working with part 4, Jason, as if none of the movies ever happened after that. So people who are big fans of part 3, part 4, that style of Friday the 13th, that tone and that kind of look, that's the kind of thing they went with. So it's cool to be playing, as much as I love the world that I've created, like it's cool to just be playing in another Friday the 13th world, just like we were saying with Batman. Like it's cool to get different styles of Batman, and like you can tell more than one story at the same time because of the multiverse kind of it all. So this is kind of like, I think, my first foray into showing like, hey, like we don't have to just focus on one Jason. Like you can keep going through different Jasons and it works.
And with Friday the 13th and Jason, I like you told us on, I think the very first time you were on the Horror Syndicate show ever, any of our shows, you mentioned that how you could do a sequel to each sequel, almost like you could do a sequel to
as a series.
As a series. And this kind of, with making fan films, you can kind of do that with Never Hike Alone plays with the Jason Lives part of the series. Like I think I mentioned it in passing to you one time that I wrote something years ago because at the time I hated Jason Goes to Hell, but I was okay with Jason Takes Manhattan. So my story was called The Return to Camp Blood, and he comes back. Just that ending was bullshit, and he comes back to Camp Blood, and it's like a resort now. He's been gone for so long, it's a resort, and imagine like Jason's been gone for so many years, and the curse has been lifted. It's no longer Camp Blood, and it's a resort town, and Jason just goes buck wild. That was my idea, but
oh my god, yeah, the Jaws version of Jason would be, you know what I mean? Like that was one of the comics too. They did like they open up the. I don't know if it was actually in the Jason versus Leatherface comic. They're opening up condos, so they drain the lake.
I didn't read that.
Yeah, they drain the lake, and he ends up getting sucked into the thing and in a truck, and he gets dumped into some waste dump in Texas somehow. and he gets picked up. Yeah, and he ends up with the Sawyer family, and he ends up to go live with the Sawyer family. It's pretty funny. But that's definitely I saw Jason. I saw Cat. He's got the I Heart New York shirt when he comes back. Now,
he gets shrunk down to a kid again. Maybe he has to wear clothes, and as he gets back to New York, he's still wearing his, like Peter in the Spider-Man movie. He's like,
yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't know. I also had an idea to combine Halloween Resurrection and Halloween 6 together into like the whole thing. So I wrote a movie for Nightmare on Elm Street 6, because we never got a Nightmare on Elm Street 6. We got Freddy's Dead, which is canon, right, Nate? So yeah, that's all my fan fiction I wrote back in like 2000.
I always loved like throwing shade.
Yeah,
the reverse big. Yeah. Jason meets Benjamin Button.
Yeah.
It just keeps going.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, thanks for watching. Anybody who watched, thanks for hitting the subscribe button, the like button, all that good stuff. Hopefully,
smash that like button.
Smash it. And hope you like the Snyder Cut. If you haven't seen it, then you shouldn't have watched this. Go watch it. It's 4 hours, and it doesn't seem like it's 4 hours. Get some pizza. Thanks, Vince, for hanging out. Yeah.
No, thanks, man. Yeah, you can get a 4-course meal throughout this movie.
Yeah.
Treat yourself.
Remember, you don't have to sit through the whole thing. It's broken up it's 7 chapters actually, because of the epilogue. There's an epilogue, but
there's a prologue.
Really worth it. Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. And I watched something going in. Grace Randolph. She's like, you know who she is?
Yeah.
She I watched one of her videos for the first time. I swear to God, she reminds me of an '80s drunk, like she's a rich 80s woman that's in her mid 50s who needs a martini in her hand, because that's how she sounds, It's like, and she was describing like there's the breakdowns and everything, and so the Grace Randall.
Yeah, she's I find her very, like, the things that she goes after negatively, they kind of rub me the wrong way. Like, I know she's going after Pedro Pascal, like for Mandalorian stuff, and I'm like, just why would you go after him? I mean, like, what does he do to you? It's like, I don't know why everybody takes this stuff so personal.
I don't either. It's getting old too. But anyway, come on the Horror Syndicate sometime again, and we'll talk again soon. And don't forget, anybody who's interested, we'll be doing another stream with Seth, Comics Breakdown Brian. I don't know what to call him. His name's Brian, and somebody else maybe. Who knows? We'll see you next time.